Hello, Whitney.
Hi, Ryan.
How are you?
I've got the suds.
Oh, I know, but
I'm a little congested today, so I'm going to sound a little different than normal. Sorry, everybody.
yeah.
I got.
Point and laugh.
Please don't. I don't feel good.
Don't. That's my friend.
That's. Oh yeah. Welcome to the Listenercast.
Welcome to the Listenercast. The Listenercast.
We're at a really good start today. Yeah. Welcome to the Listenercast. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
We backlogged the last 2 episodes, so I just want to say a huge thank you to anyone that has come over from the TikTok video.
Yeah.
I just kind of posted those clips for fun, and then they did much better than I thought they would.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of crazy.
So if you found us from that, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, and welcome. I do want to shout out technically 3 really cool people, but 2 really cool accounts and people I've become associated with since those have run their course on Cosmere Talk is what it's called now.
Oh, okay.
CJ, who is at Cosmere Quandaries, I believe is how it's pronounced. He's doing a really cool series where he's talking about the death rattles every single day until Wind and Truth comes out on his TikTok.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's also the guy, if you guys went and saw our the Cosmere photo shoot pictures that we posted, he was Relaine.
Yes.
Sorry. And his wife was Venley. I forgot Relaine's name there for a second. So shout out to CJ. I don't know if he listens to this podcast, but shout out regardless. He's great and you should go follow his content. He posts he just posts Cosmere stuff. And then these other 2 girls that I've recently became mutuals with, their TikTok, Instagram, I keep wanting to say that. Their TikTok is at Cosmere Theories, and it's Rachel and Melissa over there. And they have some really interesting stuff.
I follow them.
Yeah, they just started their account, but they have some really cool stuff they've been talking about. One of them is much more focused in psychology, and the other person is much more focused in science.
Gotcha.
And so they've been posting some cool stuff over there, and they're very nice. Cool. So I just want to shout them out and say thank you if you came over from TikTok. We won't hold you much longer. We're just gonna get into this. Is what part 3 of Oathbringer?
Yeah.
Sorry, we backlogged. My brain is
it's all good.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to shout out Australia.
Oh yeah.
we have an Australian listener.
We have
2 Australian listeners.
Yeah.
And I want to thank your country for making the best music that's coming out right now, because I went to a concert this weekend that I will talk about later.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, but shout out Australia.
Shout out Australia for real. Shout out French Canada. Shout out
someone in Russia listens to this podcast.
Out Russia. Shout out Germany. Shout out
someone in Denmark.
Have you been looking at? So we use RSS for our distribution and everything.
Yeah,
and it gives you a map of the world of where our listeners at. Mm-hmm. There's always just one random dot in the smack middle of the Atlantic. If you're in the smack middle of the Atlantic Ocean, Tell us where you are, man. I gotta know.
I like the mystery of it.
I do like the mystery.
I like to think that someone is just on a boat and they're like, you know what? I should really listen to the Listenercast right now.
True. Maybe they're
Oh,
Atlanteans.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Talking to AT-aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listening to AT-aliens.
It's true. But yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah,
that's
thank
really
you.
What it comes down to at the end of the day is thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into part 3 of Oathbringer.
Part 3 of Oathbringer. Before we do that, let's talk about the interludes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
With interlude 4.
Kaza,
a soulcaster, makes her way on a ship to a hidden island. The crew hopes to find riches left behind by great shells, but Kaza hopes to find a cure for using the soulcaster. Upon arriving at the island, it's discovered that the cook was actually a sleepless who wants to protect the island and has poisoned all the crew. Kaza, however, chooses to turn into smoke instead.
Yes.
I
know that we have already gotten an interpretation kind of what it looks like when you've used a soulcaster a bunch.
Yeah.
But I think it is still very haunting every time that we do see it.
Absolutely.
Because it says that Kaza like lowers her hood. It says he didn't even flinch, even though her hair, her ears, and now parts of her face were disintegrating. There was a hole in her cheek through which you could see her jaw and teeth. Lines of smoke rimmed the hole. The flesh seemed to be burning away. Air passed through it when she spoke, altering her voice, and she had to tip her head all the way back to drink anything. Even then, it dribbled out. And it even says she's already at this spot, but it says the process was slow. She had a few years left of soul casting until it killed her. So it's like, even though she's already in this like really decrepit state, she's like, oh, I could still do this for a couple more years.
Yeah, I think it's a good example of kind of what Sanderson does with like a lot of his magic systems, to where it's like there are costs to using.
Yeah. We talked about the last time I brought up the soul casting thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I feel like you've said that exact thing, and I was like, oh, it just got crazy deja vu.
Probably have.
Probably so.
Yes.
Yeah. There was always a cost.
There's always a cost, and I think it's a good balance. So
yeah.
They're on a funny island.
They are, and that island comes up
later.
After this book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it again. Like 3 to 4 episodes from now.
Yes. We meet another sleepless.
Yeah, the cook turns into a bunch of little cremlings at the end of the chapter. Yeah,
and kind of throughout, I think we've seen some hints before, maybe. We didn't talk about it. I know previously in one of Dalinar's visions, he notices like a burning pile of cremlings, and he's like, why would somebody go and do that?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And then I think later on in this part 3, Kaladin sees a weird cremling. So...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I like how, I guess, more prevalent they're becoming.
We're like starting to see it kind of another species.
Yeah. Species.
Introduced into our main storyline. Yeah.
And I don't know. Very interested to see what they have to protect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These weird little creatures of people. Or people of creatures.
People of creatures?
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got for that one.
Yeah. All right. Interlude 5. Taravangian is a genius today, and he changes the diagram. He sets Malada to spy on Dalinar. Very, very brief summary right there.
Yeah.
But,
I actually don't have notes about this chapter at all.
I don't have a lot myself. And by that, I don't think I have it. And that's not true.
Okay. Speak on it.
You go first, actually.
I just said I don't have anything. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk for a minute while you figure out what you're about to say.
Yeah. Let me come up with the words.
Yeah. All good. Yeah, so I think it's really interesting. He is a genius, but he's not as smart as he was the day that he created the diagram, even though he thinks he is, or we like, I don't know, because like she even asks him like, are you him? And he's like, nah.
I really like the metaphor that he gives where he's like, that day he was God.
Yeah.
Today he's the prophet of that God.
Yeah.
I really like that metaphor. It's a good way of describing like, oh, okay, how smart is he?
Yeah.
Also we get another clear indication of the smarter he is, the less empathetic.
Yes.
And emotional he is. But he still feels a little bad because he tells off Adritasia in there, which I just, that was something I marked down where he had that like little guilt and everything.
Yeah.
What I had here is not really that relevant.
Okay. Do you still want to talk about it, or do you want to skip over it?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. he kind of talks about the purpose, where he says, this is the purpose of its creation. We cannot beat the enemy, so instead we save whatever we can. And I find it kind of interesting just because, like, that's Taravangian's, like, whole thing is that he knows that he can't beat Odium.
Yeah.
But...
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Brian brought a mechanical pencil and my cat is really stoked about it.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that whole thing where he's not trying to beat Odium. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to save whatever he can.
Yeah.
And I just find that, like, kind of fascinating because I don't know what I would do in that situation. Like, you're facing a god.
Mm-hmm. I know I'm not winning.
Would you choose to follow the diagram?
I don't know, because I also don't really agree with the diagram.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, well, I guess if I didn't know any better, like, probably.
Right, if you didn't have the hindsight that we did.
Yeah, then, like, I assume I would do my best to, like, I don't know. I'd be in the same mindset of, like, you know, save what you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's all I really had.
Right.
Great interlude, in my opinion, though.
No, it is good. Because I feel like the Taravangian we get to see in, like, the main story and, like, what we have seen so far is always him as kind of, like, either a really, like, decrepit, not very intelligent old man, or it's like he's still there, but something's a little off, you know?
I think he's one of the more entertaining characters, especially in this book. Just because, you know, he is not directly working with our main cast and is actually, like, trying to stop what they're doing.
Yeah.
And also just, like, his curse / boon, I think is really just cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He's definitely a highlight for me in this whole book.
Yeah, you like Taravangian a lot.
I really, really like Taravangian.
Yeah.
Because he's an antagonist.
Yeah.
And he's a really good antagonist. Yeah.
I'd agree.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to Interlude 6.
Ooh.
This one is mine.
Venli and co. await a storm to take forms of power. Venli does not accept one of the Spren that are in the storm, and afterwards realizes her friends are now fused and she has been preserved by Odium for some reason.
Venli is Odium's champion.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
You said preserve for some reason, and my brain was like, that's it, it's Venli.
I personally find this chapter heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, they, like, her friends are murdered, essentially.
They're gone.
Yeah. Then they're, like, never coming back. That's what I actually had marked is, like, you know, she realizes that they're fused because she realizes that Demed didn't, like, even stand the same way or even speak how he used to. And she says, you said we were opening ourselves up to a new Spren, a new form. I said, Ulim hissed, that you were opening yourselves up. I didn't say what would enter. Look, your gods need bodies. It's like this every return. You should be flattered. And she says, flattered to be killed? But I just think it's really interesting because, like, her impression this whole time is like, oh, we're opening ourselves up to a new form.
Yeah. And
to, like, get stronger. But it is never like, no, like, the people are about to take these, your gods are taking these bodies. And that's, like, we find out even bananas. Like, or I think we know already, like, if a fused gets, like, killed.
Yes.
Then somebody else sacrifices their body.
Yeah. We saw that with Lady Leshwi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So, yeah, it's just, yeah, but it's really, like, literally all of Venli's, like, closest friends.
Yeah.
Essentially get murdered here.
Once again, another character that is probably one of my favorites, especially in this book, is because we finally, well, this is really our first time seeing a lot of Venli.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's a complicated character.
Yeah.
For sure. Did some bad things and is now regretting those decisions and whatnot.
Yeah, because we got a lot of Eshonai the last 2 books, and now Eshonai's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're kind of seeing the repercussions of Venli's actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pretty neat. And I feel really bad for her, even though she brought this upon herself.
Yeah.
And right there at the end, Wit, at the end of this interlude,
Mm-hmm.
She sees a funny little Spren.
She does. Looks like a ball of light.
Mm-hmm. It seemed agitated and scooted across the stone closer to her. She instantly knew something, an instinctive truth, as sure as the storms and the sun. If the creatures standing nearby saw this Spren, they would destroy it. And she like slaps her hand down and protects it and everything, because she also saw this same type of Spren, or it might have been the same Spren with Eshonai.
Right.
Like near her body and everything. So we will see what's up with that. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're now going to get into part 3, Defying Truth, Love Truth. Dalinar, Shallan, Kaladin, and Adolin.
I'll make just a note before we start. So already we are seeing the chapter headers.
Mm-hmm.
They are now excerpts from the gemstones that Renarin, Navani, and Yasna found in the library.
Yes.
There's some pretty cool ones in here.
I would agree.
Yeah. And also right before this, we get a really cool folio page showing off a Thaylen woman.
Yeah, I actually, looking at this image, I was like, I could do a cosplay of this. Like, we saw those girls at Dragon Con. The only thing I haven't figured out is how they did the eyebrows. Like, I knew that they took like a white wig and like did something with it, but I'm like, how'd you glue down eyebrows on your eyebrows without pulling your eyebrows out afterwards? That's my question. Or maybe I can get like tie-in extensions for my eyebrows.
Really, really long ones.
Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. And I'll dye my eyebrows white.
Would be kind of cool. I basically already don't have eyebrows because of my blonde hair, so it'd be really easy for me to just...
Yeah. But I was like looking at this and I was like, I just need like a nice flowy white top, a little corset, and a long skirt.
I also thought about doing maybe a Thaylen cosplay, just something kind of like, you know,
it could be
low-key.
It'd be low-key.
We could give out little trinkets and everything.
Yeah, that's how we give out the ribbons.
Oh, true. We want to do ribbons for Dragonsteel, by the way. I don't know if we talk about that.
I think maybe. I don't remember. So, I don't know. Maybe Ryan and I will be in cosplay. We'll see.
We shall see. I already have to pack a suit.
Yeah. I haven't figured out what I'm wearing for the ball yet.
Yeah. Well.
All right. So, chapter 58.
Chapter 58. Dalinar waits at the Oath Gate from Thaylen City. Kaladin and Shallan arrive, and Dalinar tells Kaladin that he is now a landowner. Dalinar and his retinue then teleport to the city, are transfixed by the damage. Queen Fen then takes them on a tour. I
don't have any notes for this chapter. It is just a couple pages, and yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I just marked down here his conversation with Ryle.
Okay.
Just found it very funny. Their whole interaction where he says, "You don't have to salute me each time I look at you, Sergeant. Just trying to be extra careful, sir. Wouldn't want to be reported for being disrespectful. I didn't mention you by name, Ryle. Everyone knew anyway, Bright Lord. Imagine that." Yeah, it's just very much like... And then Navani is, isn't it? No, that was the last part where Navani's like, you don't have to keep him around. Yeah, that was the last part. But I just like this very light in tone. Yeah, because we get serious Dalinar all the time.
And we get very serious Dalinar in this
really
part.
heavy with Dalinar in this book.
Yeah.
I think in this part.
I was thinking, like, you know, everyone talks about like the Sanderlanche, where like you get to that part in a Sanderson book where you just don't put it down. You don't talk for 5 hours because you are just so engrossed in it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once you hit part 3 of any of these books, that is where it's just like, you don't want to put this book down. Because we got to the end of this part and I was like, I just want to keep reading forever now. I don't want to put this down. And I feel that way every part 3 of these books. I
will save my comment for part 4.
Okay, slay.
Yes. Yes. I like him talking to Kaladin, saying like, oh, if you didn't want the burden, then you shouldn't have said the oaths and everything. Mm-hmm. It's very good. I just like it. Nothing really of note or anything that I noticed or want to talk about really, but yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't have any notes either, so I'm happy to move on to chapter 59.
Bondsmith. Dalinar is given a tour, and Fen leaves to attend some business. In an attempt to show strength, he challenges Fen's son to a duel. Taking a blow on purpose, Dalinar realizes his show has had an opposite effect. Wandering off alone, he begins rebuilding a temple and sends for Renarin to come heal the injured. Whitney, this chapter is so awesome. This chapter is so sick.
Yeah, it's good. The thing that I do have marked is where they show up to the temple where they like basically have set up like a hospital.
Yeah.
And like Taravangian like breaks down.
Yeah.
And he's like, please, like, let me bring my surgeons. Mm-hmm. Like, we can help you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm happy that we've gotten to a point with Fen and Thelena that like she is accepting help. Because like we know that Dalinar has good intentions, but historically he has not always had those. Right. And so I love that she finally is like, you know what, I will accept the help. And for like, it starts with Taravangian. Mm-hmm. And then does this chapter end with him doing the stone thing, or is that the next one?
It's where he starts doing the stone thing.
Okay. But yeah, so it starts with let us bring in surgeons, and you know that is like a very simple thing. I think any leader would be like, you know what, you're right. We are kind of in a pinch here as far as the help that we need, and they bring in Renarin to do the to do healing, because that's like kind of part of his whole thing is that he can heal people. Mm-hmm. And like you see these Thaylen citizens are so, they like thank Dalinar. Mm-hmm. And like it's, I don't know, I just think we get a really cool switch. We're starting to see the political worldly view of Dalinar change, to see like, oh, he's not the Blackthorn anymore.
Yes,
you know, like he still is the Blackthorn, but he's not the Blackthorn that just pillages and kills.
Yeah. So previously, how we know like Dalinar's history as the Blackthorn and everything, and we know he gets that change to where he is like more of a political leader and all. And I think throughout this book, we have seen his past come and give him trouble with the present. Because none of these world leaders trust him and everything. Yeah. And he's still trying to learn. That's why I love like his duel with Fen's son. Yeah. Did not have the effect that he thought it was going to. Yeah. And it's great because he goes on and he's like, you know, talking to the Stormfather or whatever. But when he hears the souls of the temple and everything, and he starts rebuilding it and bonding it back together, he kind of like has this like switch, and it's sort of like when in The Way of Kings where he's like, I need to clear my mind, and he starts like digging that trench and just like doing physical labor and activity. He talks about it in the same way, like using his power like this in a way that he hasn't is helping him think and helping him realize like the mistakes that he's done and how to improve upon them, because that's when he sends for Renarin and everything, and he has that thought of, I should have sent for Renarin immediately. I didn't think about that. It's just really good because it further characterizes Dalinar as he is the type of person that is probably more of like a do think do rather than a think do think type of guy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he is just going to go for what his first instinct is most of the time instead of really thinking about it. Because his first instinct here is like, oh, well, let me dual fend Sun because that's what they're expecting out of me.
Yes.
And then it definitely, like you said, it doesn't have the effect that he was expecting.
Yeah.
So.
And he's also trying to now reverse some of that. He's trying to be more maybe not articulate with his thoughts.
He's trying to be he's trying to be more political than he is physical. Yeah.
I really like Dalinar. He's very cool.
Yeah, and I also like the duel that he has where he literally like lets Fen's son stab him basically in the heart, like almost.
Yeah.
And he's
coolest thing ever.
Yeah, and he's just kind of like, he pulls it out and he was like, that was a good thrust, and just, is, healing himself with Stormlight, and that's kind of, I don't know, I think that whole scene is really cool. But I also think the scene at the end where he like, or not towards the end of the chapter, where he's like touching the stone and he can hear them being like, we just want to be back together, like unite us is what they say.
Unite them.
Unite us, please. And I don't know. I just think that it's a really cool moment.
It is.
Because we finally see kind of Bondsmith powers. That's the first like look at, because we really don't know what Dalinar's powers are at this point. So
talking about uniting things, I'm not going to do it now, but I do have a theory. And anybody is more than happy to shoot me down about this theory, but I will talk about it later when we get to that more into the Kholinar saga of things.
All right.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, I don't have anything else for that chapter if we want to move on.
Yeah. Chapter 60.
Winds and Oaths.
Kaladin is flying Elhakar's team to Kholinar and realizes that the city is surrounded. They decide to sneak in by using Shallan's light weavings.
Yes.
Yes.
I have no notes.
I have no notes about this chapter as well.
All right.
Yeah. This is kind of a short chapter, and yeah. All right.
I think you hit everything on the head with what you needed to say there.
Chapter 61.
Nightmare Made Manifest.
The team sneak in after a fused attack the wall and find refuge at Adolin's Tailor.
I know. I love I don't think I marked it in here, but he's like, oh yeah, we can go stay. Like there's someone here that I really trust, like someone I trust with my life. And then it's his Tailor. I just kind of love that.
Oh, it's so funny.
And it's so Adolin, It's like all he cares about is fashion. Not all he cares about, but he cares a lot about fashion and looking good and like presenting a certain way. And so, of course, the person he trusts most is his Tailor. And she is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I also love that Shallan made Kaladin ugly.
What did you do to me?
What did you do? He's a decrepit old man.
Yeah.
And then like everyone walks up to him and they're like,
we also learn about the cult for the first time.
Yes, the cult of
moments.
Yes. And we also see yeah, go ahead actually.
Well, they're imitating Spren.
Yeah, and that was what I was going to say is like now that we are in Kholinar, none of the Spren are,
they're not normal.
Yeah. Which I kind of think is a really fun thing here. Because now it's like, we know something's wrong in Kholinar. And like, as we find out in this part, like there is...
It's not just something physically wrong with Kholinar.
Yeah. Like there's like a demon in the tower, in the palace, essentially.
There's multiple demons.
In the palace.
Yeah.
But for it to have an effect and to change the entire city and the way...
Oh, yeah.
Like it is changing something in the cognitive realm for them to come out and be looking wrong.
Yeah. We'll see it some more in the next chapter with Shallan. But the description of all these wrong Spren are very, very cool. And because they're not like quite completely different from the normal Spren. They're just like
a little
altered in a way.
They're evil Spren. I want to make this comment before I forget. I thought it was really smart of Shallan to make King Elhokar a highborn light-eyed lady.
Oh yes.
Like that was like the smartest thing I think she could have done, because she was like, I knew that he wasn't going to hold himself anyway, besides
he's too much of a fop.
Yeah. What?
Like a fop.
What is a fop?
You know, like a very highborn, like, oh, I'm too important, like type of guy.
Is that a real word?
Yeah.
Oh. What is it? Does it stand for something, or it's just fop?
I think it's just fop.
FOP?
Yeah.
Wow. I learned something today.
I think
we don't. I'm happy to just leave that as is. I don't think I need to know more.
Okay.
I don't need to know if that's real or not. I just want to believe you.
Okay. I'm pretty sure fop is. I think Dalinar calls Adolin a fop later on in this. Yeah.
Oh.
I think so.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
but I like that. Let's
All right. Chapter 62.
Research.
Getting a rundown from Yokska about what has gone down in the city, Shallan tries different ways to draw out these corrupted Spren. Shallan then reveals the truth about Vale to her team.
Yes. So she ended up, the others fell silent, which provided the perfect opportunity for Shallan. She took a deep breath, then strolled forward, holding her sketch pad as if distracted. She tripped herself over a roll of cloth on the floor, yelped, and tumbled into the center of the ring of chairs. She ended up sprawled on the floor, skirts about her waist, and she wasn't even wearing the leggings today. Her safe hand bulged out of between the sleeve buttons, poking into the open right in front of not just the king, but Kaladin and Adolin. Perfectly, horribly, incredibly mortifying. And she did it on purpose.
Yep.
Because she wanted to see the altered Spren. I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
She said, I'm purposely going to embarrass myself so bad.
Mm-hmm. The most embarrassing thing she's ever done.
Yeah. Safe hands out.
Yeah. Safe hands out.
Her skirt is hiked up.
Yep. I like how when Adolin is just like, Shallan. And then it's just, I'm fine. That was an experiment. All one word.
Yeah.
All one word.
Yeah. And she's like running out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I love her. Yeah. And then on the next page, we find out that you can't use like span reeds or really any fabrials, or else
the screamers.
Yeah. The screaming yellow Spren that ride the wind like streaks of terrible light. They shout and swirl about you. And that usually brings the creatures from the sky, the ones with the loose clothing and long spears. So if anyone uses a soulcaster, a fabrial, span reed, anything like that, it draws the fused essentially. Crazy. It
is. Which is the reason why nobody's gotten any word from like why Kholinar went silent and everything.
Because they just like physically couldn't.
I have it marked down here right before that where Kaladin says, who rules now? Nobody, Yokska said. Various high lords, well, they basically seized sections of the city. Some argued that the monarchy had fallen, that the king, I beg pardon, your majesty, had abandoned them. But the real power in the city is the cult of moments. So I find it very interesting because I have talked about this before. It's a reason why Well of Ascension is my favorite Mistborn novel.
Yeah.
I love a power vacuum.
Yeah.
I love a power vacuum. I love that where everybody's grappling for power and everything because it makes things interesting. It makes things chaotic.
Yeah.
And you just see a bunch of different factions trying to take hold of what is now available.
Yeah, because we have like the Fused, we have Queen Aesidon, presumably still in the picture.
The Cult of Moments.
Yeah. And then Elikar's here and he's like, this is my kingdom. Hello. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
Chapter 63, Within the Mirror.
Oh. And did you like at the end with Shallan, some privacy boys, Vale needs to get dressed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's great.
She's amazing.
And they're all just like, you're kidding.
They're like, oh, we should have guessed. And I like that it doesn't really change anything for like Vatha and them. Like they're just like, this is, still the person I work for. I'm still just going to respect it. But I like the moment that they all have where they're like, oh, really? Oh.
And Ishna had it reversed.
Yeah.
And Vatha just knew something was up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool. 63. Say the title.
Within the Mirror.
Thank you.
Sorry, I said it like a minute ago, so my brain was like, I already said that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault.
That's okay.
Disguised, Shallan goes to the palace in an attempt to give a letter to the queen. However, she was promptly stabbed in the chest before she could do so. Feigning death, she finds the corpses of other Light Eyes who probably dissented.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I keep sniffling into the mic. I keep trying to remember to move away, and then sometimes it's just instinct. So I'm going to cut out as many of them as I can, but like some of them I do when I'm talking, so I'm so sorry. Anyways. I like that we see, and I know I talked about this a lot in the last episode or two, and we see it really, really hard in this part, is the separation of Shallan and her other like counterparts at Vale.
Yes.
And you even see here where Vale, she's talking to Kaladin as they're like going towards the palace. And Vale is thinking, I like him. And it's an odd thought in how much stronger that feeling was to Vale than it had been to Shallan. I like that brooding sense he has about him, those dangerous eyes. Why did Shallan focus so much on Adolin? He was nice, but also bland. You couldn't tease him without feeling bad, but Kaladin, he glared at you in the most satisfying of ways. And so it's like, Shallan recognizes that she does not have these kinds of feelings for Kaladin, like whatsoever. But Vale does. So it's this like complete separation in her mind from them. Why are you looking at me like that? Say something.
There's just this part here that says the part of her that was still Shallan deep down. Oh, wait, never mind. I thought there was a line that directly
just contradicted what I said.
Yes. No, I just read it wrong. Sorry, everybody.
Ryan was smirking at me. I was like, what did I do?
But there was another reason I was smirking, because somebody I saw on TikTok
asked us to talk about them as a throuple.
Not as a throuple, just the triangle.
Yeah.
Jenna likes the throuple idea, and I disagree with Jenna on the throuple idea.
I am also not like a Shallan, Kaladin,
Adolin.
I think Shallan and Adolin are very nice. I don't think Kaladin and Shallan should be involved romantically in any way. Do I think they have a certain chemistry about them?
Yeah.
Yes. Do I understand why people feel that sort of way about them? Absolutely. However, I disagree.
Let's talk about it at the end, after this part.
We've already talked about this on the podcast that neither of us support that.
We have, but I want to go further into that. Okay. I kind of want to just go further into ships at the end. I want to talk more about ships.
We have a lot going on. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
What were we talking about?
The separation of Shallan and Vale.
Yeah.
And, she gets stabbed.
She sure does.
She gets stabbed. Something I marked when she is passing, she's, being carried on this soldier's shoulder. And it says the guard carrying her past a floor-to-ceiling mirror rimmed in a fancy bronze frame. In it, she glimpsed the guard with Lynn thrown over his shoulder. And beyond that, deep within the mirror, something turned, and the normal image fading and looked toward Shallan with a sudden and surprised motion. It looked like the shadow of a person with only white spots for eyes.
I wonder what that could be.
We do find out by the end of this part, but I don't want to talk about it till we get there.
Yes.
But that is the first time that we see this creature.
Yes, it is.
And I guess kind of also a first hint, not first hint, because we walk into the palace and like we obviously know something's wrong because she gets stabbed. But something supernatural is going on in the palace is kind of like our first hint at that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that there's a lot more weird supernatural stuff going on in this part. And when we get to it later, I know this one thing I think was directly inspired by Lovecraft.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure.
I don't know.
Okay.
Chapter
64.
Binder of Gods.
The Stormfather informs Dalinar that he knows where Ashar is. Dalinar guesses that he is the warlord Tazim. The others prepare him for his meeting with the Azish. He stops a fight and decides to send Sadeas's men to help rebuild Dalen City.
I have no notes for this chapter.
I don't think I do either. I just found it funny that Navani packed him a lunch.
I thought that was really cute.
It was very nice.
I think it's interesting that we do find out that the other herald, or one of the other heralds, is genuinely a warlord.
Yeah, and is like proclaiming that he's like a god king.
Yeah. He's like lost his mind so far. I mean, we know he loses his mind. Like, we know you kind of come back a little crazy. But like for him to just be like, I'm the god king and we should kill everyone all the time.
Yeah, every herald we've met so far is kind of a little...
is just about murder and a little kooky.
Yeah.
A little insane in the membrane, if you will.
Insane in the brain.
All right.
Chapter 65.
Verdict.
Dalinar meets with the Azish and gives them 3 essays to convince them. He then is led to a room to wait their verdict, where he meets and talks to Lift.
Yeah.
Soon the Azish come and say they were convinced mostly by Navani's essay.
Yes. So something really cool that, we're finding out more about Dalinar's powers in this chapter, because he knows that he can speak different languages somehow, because he's like, I've been in the visions, I was able to speak different languages that like I've never, I don't know, because he only knows Alethi, I'm pretty sure. And so he finds out that he just has to like touch somebody that speaks the language he's trying to speak, and then he will be able to speak fluently, which I think is really interesting in this case, because like he touches the little like errand or servant boy or whoever it was.
He freaks out, right?
Yeah, he like freaks out because he's like, the Black Guard has his hands on me. Yeah. He's gonna kill me.
What is he doing?
Yeah, and then Dalinar just starts speaking fluent Azish, and they're like, "You speak our language?" And he's like, "Yeah, I wanted, I really wanted to do right politically, and I wanted to learn your language so it would help me understand you and your culture better," which was like such a good answer on his part.
Such a good answer.
But I'm like, you sneaky little bastard.
Yeah, that's great. I have marked down here. This way, Blackthorn, Nora said, starting down the wooden ramp. It was constructed upon a woodwork lattice. Seeing those wooden stilts, Dalinar had a moment of surreal memory. It vaguely reminded him of something, of perching above a city and looking down at wooden lattices. Rathalas, he thought. The Rift. The city that had rebelled. Right. He felt a chill and the pressure of something hidden trying to thrust itself into his consciousness. There was more to remember about that place.
Yeah.
We're starting to see more and more that there's something that happened at the Rift.
Well, we know that he doesn't have like his full memory, because we know
it's starting to slowly come back to him.
Yeah, like we know that he didn't remember Evie, the first like 2 books essentially.
Yeah.
And obviously, because he didn't know her, there's other memories around her that he has lost.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, what happened at this city that he's repressed this or asked someone to repress it for him?
Mm-hmm.
And we're just seeing that sneaking back in.
Yeah, because it started all the way back in like the first few chapters of this book.
Yeah.
Where he has a like flash of seeing Kadash.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Of being like ragging and everything and like leaving the army.
Yeah.
So Uh-oh.
Let's see.
I really like the reactions to all the different essays.
Yeah, I like that they see Yasna's essay kind of as like this like grail thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of love that we know that Yasna is a very like renowned scholar.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool to see it in action, you know, and so renowned that like the ages people were like, oh my God, Yasna Kholin wrote this. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I like that we get to see her scholarship and the fact that she is a renowned scholar, appreciated probably in like the best form.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he meets Lift.
Yes.
And they have a really interesting interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Lift cocked her head. Huh. You smell like her. Her?
Yes.
The crazy Spren who lives in the forest. You've met the Night Watcher? Yeah. You? He nodded.
Yeah.
So this is interesting because we haven't had two characters who've met the Night Watcher meet before. And as far as I know, I think these are the only characters that we know of that have met the Night Watcher.
Yeah, and I also think if you have gone to the old magic, like I think that's something you don't talk about.
No.
I think it's kind of taboo. So this is the first time we've had two people that have openly admitted to seeing the Night Watcher.
Yes.
Meeting.
And it's interesting because both of these characters have been drastically changed by the Night Watcher, but from what we have been told by Navani and her research with Dalinar is that none of the boons or curses have ever just gone away.
Yes.
Which is what's happening to him.
And to Lift.
And to Lift, but we know Lift is weird. We know Lift is different. We know there's something. We know she's
a weird little freak.
Yeah. Literally, it's been said, like, what did they make in that city? Talking about Lift and everything. So I don't know what that's about. So these are both two characters who are not our typical, like, Night Watcher people. Which I still find very odd. And I really want to know the answers already about that.
Yeah.
I think my biggest... But I think my whole thing with, like, Dalinar is we were told that the Stormfather has nothing to do with his memories coming back, right?
Yeah.
Weren't we, like, explicitly told that?
Yeah, he said, like, I have nothing to do with that.
So I don't know what it could be.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless it has, like, something...
Excuse me.
That just has to do with honor.
I don't know. I don't even have a theory for you.
I feel like it still has something to do with his connection to honor, and like that's it.
Probably. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I can't theory craft with you because I don't have a theory.
It's okay. That's all good. I don't know. I guess I wanted to know what your ideas were.
I don't have a single idea in my whole little head.
Just like Nova.
Just like Nova. No thoughts. Head empty.
Look, Nova, a pencil.
All right. Do you have anything else in this chapter? You want to move on?
I do not.
All right. So let's move on to chapter 66, Strategist. Dalinar flashback.
Dalinar is finally told he's being sent to the Rift. Evie is upset, saying that the fighting will never stop. She scolds him, and the two argue until finally Dalinar says that he will give her a year in Kholinar after the rift.
Did I say Evie earlier?
You did.
I meant Evie. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
I heard you say it out loud, and I went, I think I said that wrong earlier.
If you pronounce it Evie, that's fine.
It was just, I don't know. It's the way I read it in my head before I heard the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, there's a lot of character names that, like, when I heard them out loud for the first time, I was like, ooh, that's not how I pronounce that in my head at all.
Did you say Jasna?
I don't think I did Jasna.
Okay.
Shalon, though, I think
Shalon.
Shalon, yeah.
Yeah, that's a common one that I've heard. Because I did audiobooks first.
And also Adolin. I read it as
Adolin
instead of Adolin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Yasna, I think I figured that one out. But, yeah. So, sorry. Anyways.
How do you pronounce them? Let us know.
I saw there was a comment on one of the TikToks where we were talking about Elokar, and someone was like, as an audiobook listener, that's not how I thought that was spelled at all. And
yeah,
I
did see that.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I don't really have a lot of notes for this.
I don't either.
I do. So Evie reminds him, hey, Dalinar, you have another son.
Yeah, about Renarin.
Yeah. And I felt really bad.
Yeah, it made me feel bad too. Because like now I feel like Dalinar is such a good father to Renarin.
Yes.
But like at this time, he definitely only kind of cared about Adolin.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end here, when she's just like, oh, I don't feel like I've won. And Dalinar's like, welcome to war, Evie.
Yeah.
And which is just like what he told the other High Prince at the end of Words of Radiance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it
Aladar, I think.
Was it Aladar?
I think it was Aladar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
that like whenever you win a war, it doesn't even feel like it because of the carnage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to chapter 67, Misham.
Misham. We get some cool Shalon sketches here.
Yeah, we do with the
creepy Spren.
Yeah, the Spren that look wrong.
And a fused.
Yes.
67, Misham.
You know what?
What?
The fuse kind of looks like to me.
No.
Feel free to bully me in the comments. It reminds me of Evangelion.
Oh, with like the Spear of Longinus and everything.
Yeah, that reminds me of Evangelion, I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, feel free to bully me in the comments.
Mm-hmm. Tumbling down.
Okay, let's talk about chapter 67. Okay.
The Kholinar team discuss further their plan in the city. Kaladin is going to investigate the wall guard. Shalon is to infiltrate the Cult of Moments. Shalon then goes as Vale to find soldiers handing out grain at an old bank. Frustrated by the disorganization, she is surprised to find Wit telling a story to a crowd. The two of them then leave to get some food. Motorcycle going by.
Her tongue's sticking out.
Oh, she's blepping.
Wait, turn towards Ryan. I don't know what notes I have in this chapter. Let me look.
I have one, I know.
I also have one. Yeah, I have one at the very end. It is when they are talking about it's during Wit's story.
Okay, so same. All right, go ahead.
Is it about the people in Natnan?
No.
Oh, okay. I just think it's super interesting that they talk about Za had gone to one day in the heavens to know Nomon and then ended up like getting pregnant by him.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid came out with like pale blue skin, and it says that's why the people of Natnan have a skin of faintly blue shade. And it is why Misham, though still crafty, has never again left her place. Most importantly, it is the story of how the moon came to know the one thing that before only mortals had known: loss. Which I think that line is really hard.
It is. Cool. I have to agree.
But yeah, I just always like when we kind of get folklore in these books.
Yeah.
And this one is very much a folklore of like, this is why the people of Nat and have blue skin.
Yep.
Is because this lady went and fell in love with another moon, and then now she has a little blue moon baby. I was like, how do I make this not raunchy?
Yeah. I just had it marked down that this was also the story that Sigil attempted to tell Kaladin previously in this book.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so we got a really bad interpretation.
And then we got the
full story.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, Sigil, what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have anything else.
I don't either.
All right. Chapter 68.
Chapter 68.
Aim for the sun. Wit
and Shallan meet in a private room at a tavern Wit is supposed to be working at. He gives her some advice and tells her some information on the cult and how to become a member.
Yes. So the first thing that I have marked is Shallan asking Wit, like, she says, like, you're old, aren't you? Like, you're not a herald, but you're as old as they are. It says he slid his boots off the chair and leaned forward, holding her eyes. He smiled in a kindly way. Child, when they were but babes, I had already lived dozens of lifetimes. Old is a word you use for worn shoes. I'm something else entirely. She trembled, looking into those blue eyes. Shadows played within them. Shapes moved and were worn down by time. Boulders became dust. Mountains became hills. Rivers changed course. Seas became deserts. Storms, she whispered. When I was young, he said. Yes, I made a vow. Shallan nodded wide-eyed. I said I'd always be there when I was needed. And have you been? Yes, she breathed out. It turns out I should have been more specific, as there is technically anywhere.
Pretty cool.
The silence of just me and Ryan staring at each other.
Yeah.
So he's around. He's around.
Yes. I don't have it marked down, so I'm going to ask, is this the part where he talks about the boulder?
What?
He gives the metaphor of the boulder.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I have the part where he says, lying in a puddle of my own urine, calling for the nurse to bring me more pudding. And he does the power is a knife, a terrible, dangerous knife that can't be wielded without cutting yourself. We joked about stupidity, but in reality, most people aren't stupid. Many are simply frustrated at how little control they have over their lives.
Yes.
Which is bars.
Yeah. Yes, it is in this part.
Okay.
He gives a good metaphor about a boulder. He says there are two kinds of important men, Shallan. There are those who, when the boulder of time rolls towards them, stand up in front of it and hold out their hands. All their lives they've been told how great they are. They assume the world itself will bend to their whims, as their nurse did when fetching them a fresh cup of milk. Those men end up squished. Other men stand to the side when the boulder of time passes and are quick to say, see what I did? I made the boulder roll there. Don't make me do it again. Those men end up getting everyone else squished. Is there not a third type of person? There is, but they are oh so rare. These know they can't stop the boulder, so they walk beside it, study it, and bide their time. Then they shove it ever so slightly to create a deviation in its path. These are the men who actually change the world, and they terrify me, for men never see as far as they think they do. That's so hard. Her tongue is out again.
No, but
Wit says that these men terrify him, but I feel like Wit is that third type of man.
Yeah.
So.
And he says, I don't know if it's in this chapter or another one, he says something where he was like, he says, oh, it's something about like, don't trust somebody for something.
Who claim they can see the future?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, which is like literally like what he just said. And she's like, but and he's like, don't trust somebody who says that they can see the future. So it's like he says stuff that applies to himself, and he's like, you don't need to trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else for that chapter, Whit.
Chapter 69.
Nice.
Free meal, no strings.
One second. All right, there we go. All right. The men of the Kholinar team go to a group of parties. Kaladin, not thrilled, goes off on his own where he meets a group of wall guard. They invite him to their barracks for a free meal and try to convince him to enlist.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, I have one note.
Okay.
It says he makes a comment, or in his head, he makes a comment. The truth was, he was feeling pretty good these days. Yes, there was a war. Yes, the city was seriously stressed. But ever since he'd found his parents alive and well, he'd been feeling better. That wasn't so uncommon a feeling for him. He felt good lots of days. Trouble was, on the bad days, that was hard to remember. At those times, for some reason, he felt like he had always been in the darkness and always would be. Why is it so hard to remember? Why did he have to keep slipping back down? Why couldn't he stay up here in the sunlight where everyone else lived? And I just think that's like a very good and accurate description of depression.
Yeah.
Where it's like, because I mean, I've had those days where it's like, oh my God, like, I just don't even want to be here anymore. But it's like the day before, I probably had the best day of my life. And it's just like those like swings of emotion are so intense. So I just think that that's a really good depiction of that.
I would agree. As somebody who I can say I don't have depression, but I like everybody has depressive episodes, right?
I don't know.
Everybody has bad days.
Yeah, that is true.
Like Hannah Montana says.
Exactly. Everybody has those days.
I would also agree because I have many friends who are, have depression. And they describe it a lot of the same way. So
yeah, because like it is hard to remember when you're having a bad day. Like, oh, but yesterday I had like the most fun I've ever had in my life. Or like, but yesterday, even though I didn't really do anything crazy, it was still a really good day. Yeah. But like when you are like in that depressive state, you're just like everything is horrible. And it's always been horrible. And it's like, it's not true, man. You saw your friends yesterday and you had a good time. Like, what are you talking about? Anyways.
It's nice to see Kaladin more aware of that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's having some better days.
Yes. I have marked here where Kaladin is talking to Drehi and Scar. And he says, this is what they're like. Your city is practically burning. What should you do? Throw a party, obviously. And Drehi asks Scar, hey, Scar, you ever go out drinking even when at war? Sure. And back in my village, we'd have a dance in the storm shelter twice a month, even while boys were off fighting in border skirmishes. It's not the same. You taking their side? Are there sides? Drehi asks. So, and then like it goes on and he sees like Adolin and Drehi and Scar like have a relationship with each other because they keep saving his life.
Now that's the throuple I support.
Now that's the throuple I support. Okay, yeah, I can get with that. It's like Kaladin knows the status quo is changing, and we see it further on that society is a lot more complex than he originally thought. Yeah. Because he's still stuck on like the whole like light eyes versus dark eyes thing, which is like an issue. Right. But it's a lot more than that. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a Light Eyes now. So
He is a Light Eyes now, which he still doesn't like, but it's just like, come on, man. Yeah, that's really what I had marked for this chapter.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't
You
have
got anything else?
No, I don't.
All right.
All right, chapter 70, High Marshal Azure.
Back at the barracks, Kaladin is indeed given a meal, and soon High Marshal Azure arrives. Surprising, she's a woman. After some conversation, she takes Cal to the wall and makes some good guesses about his background. She says she won't pressure him and sends him back on his way. When he meets back with Adolin and Elhokar, he says he might have found another Radiant.
I think it's really funny, like, because we find out later, she's like, I never told them to call me sir. They just have a problem with a woman in authority, and so they just call her that by proxy.
Yep.
And it's so funny because, like, the whole thing is like, they're like, Cal, don't like ruin it. Like, just call him sir. And she's just so clearly a woman.
Yeah.
And I just kind of love it. I love this bit that they have. It's it's very serious to them, but it's a bit. Yeah.
And she has a shard blade.
Yeah.
That's out.
Yeah. And she doesn't like dismiss it.
No.
And she wears it. Like, yeah.
She hangs it up on the wall at one point, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, she just hangs it up.
Yeah, because she's like, I'm not going to steal it.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Okay.
All right, girl.
I like all these little, like, new side characters that we get. Like Beard.
Beard is funny.
Beard is just a liar.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty funny.
He is funny.
Yeah, that's all I really had.
I don't have anything else either. So let's move on to chapter 71, A Sign of Humanity.
Dalinar flashback. Dalinar at the Rift gets word that a caravan has left the city. Dalinar goes and meets with Teleb and tries to convince him to surrender. I don't think that's his name. It's not Teleb. I think it's Tanelon, actually.
It is Tanelon.
It's Tanelon.
Whoopsies.
And tries to convince Tanelon to surrender. He declines, but tells Dalinar that they have a traitor amongst them, and he would be willing to join him in the traitor's place. Tanelon says that Sadeas is the traitor, and Dalinar decides to go investigate the caravan himself.
Yeah, so I remember my first time reading this being like, oh, Sadeas was bad from the start, like from the get-go. Because like in the last couple like flashbacks we've had, it seems like Dalinar and Sadeas are pretty chummy. And like, I mean, Sadeas is always like, I will do whatever I have to for my king. And, you know, like they seem like they're genuinely good friends. And so when this happened in my like initial read, I was like, oh, I knew Sadeas was a bad egg. So I just think it's funny.
It's very good to see this as like, yes, Sadeas betrayed you. Yeah. And then later on in life, Sadeas actually betrays him.
Yeah. Foreshadowing, but like it's already happened. So.
Yeah.
Post-shadowing.
Post-shadowing. That's my new band name.
Post-shadowing. That's funny. I do like when they are talking about the traitor and everything. And I mean, also Dalinar goes to like try to talk it out with Tanelon because of Evie. And he's like, you know what? I'll try to do right by my wife, and I will go and just ask without violence if we can make a treaty. And obviously we know what happens. But there's a point right here where they're talking about even just like, if we duel, you know, it would only be one of us dying, not your entire city and your entire people. And Dalinar says, have I ever lost a battle, Tanelon? You know my reputation. Do you think it exaggerated? And the younger man shifted, looking over his shoulder toward where he had left his guards and advisors. When he looked back, he was more resolved. Better to die trying to bring you down than to surrender. And I just really like that Dalinar is like, do you really think my reputation is exaggerated? Like, I've killed a lot of people. Yeah. Kind of hard.
It is kind of hard.
But yeah, That's all I got for that one. Because yeah, I don't have anything else.
I don't either.
Okay, well we can move on to chapter 72, Rockfall.
Rockfall. Let me get to chapter 72.
Oh, you're on the wrong page.
I was on the wrong page.
LOL, it happens.
There we go.
Yippee.
Also some foreshadowing with this chapter name.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Vale and crew sneak into a rich lady's house to steal food. They are found out and make an escape on a chull. Vale does some crazy Lightweaver stuff, and they make a successful escape. Vale makes her way to Grund and asks him to find some books for her. She then goes and delivers food to some others he recommended.
So there is a moment with Vatha, like right in the beginning, where he says, "I'm still amazed you're both of them all along. You don't act anything like one another, talking about Shallan and Vale." And that's rather the point, Vatha. "I wish I'd picked it out myself," he grunted, scratching the side of his head. "I like Vale." "Not me? You're my boss. I'm not supposed to like you." And she says, "Straightforward, if rude. At least you always knew where you stood with him."
Yeah.
I just kind of like that.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
Just a comment.
The more we learn about Vatha, the more I like Vatha.
Oh, I love Vatha.
Yeah, he's great.
He's just like he's kind of rude, but he's not rude. He's, like she said, straightforward.
Yeah.
But
which comes off as rude. But
yeah, to some people for sure.
Yeah. What happens with the illusions that she makes in their escape?
Oh my god, it's like almost like a horror novel.
It's so awesome.
It's gross, I think.
It's so cool because she gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, the bolt, like, it healed around the bolt. And now, like, she has, like, slurred speech and everything because there's something in her brain where she got, like, a partial lobotomy and everything. And, like, her brain is not acting right because she has an arrow in it.
Yeah.
I think it's so rad. It's so cool. She's making her face drip the entire time. She's like, it's really sick.
Yeah, before we get there, I actually have another note.
Oh, okay. You go right ahead.
So she sees Nananav, that the woman whose house they're in, and it says maybe she could move into Rockfall and act the part. And the former lady of the house, well, she was an inferior version, obviously. Just deal with her, take her place. It would feel right, wouldn't it? With a chill, Vale let one layer of the illusion drop. And storms. What had that been? And I just feel like these couple chapters, like the next couple chapters, like when, like we really see Shallan just kind of losing it.
Yes.
Like she's losing her mind in these couple chapters.
Oh,
like
yeah.
to a point where she literally was like, oh, I could take this lady's place in her house and I'll just kill her and take her place and it's fine. And then it's like, what? Why would you need to do that? Like what?
Yeah, we're going to see some more of that, huh?
Yeah, we see a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I love Shallan. Like, I think she's one of the best characters. If you're watching the video, you will see my cat playing with this pencil. If you hear Ryan and I giggling here and there, it's like she's really going at it. But yeah, like, I really love Shallan. And I love this depiction of, I mean, I guess technically she would have like dissociative identity disorder, right? That's like the correct term.
I think.
I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments. That's just my assumption. But just like the depiction of whatever's going on and like seeing her kind of spin into madness a little bit. Yeah. Is like, I really think it's so interesting how far she disconnects from herself.
It is. And it's very concerning.
Yes.
Very concerning.
Okay, so let's talk about her getting shot in the head.
Yeah, well, I already brought it up. She got shot in the head. She had an arrow sticking out of it. It was affecting her brain. Yeah. Like she couldn't like function completely in it, whatnot.
I really like that she has to. There's a second where her vision goes dark and like right before that happens, she just goes, bother. because she like knows she's not gonna die. She has the Stormlight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's interesting, and it is kind of like a horror novel.
It is,
and also like especially like the part where they're on the wagon and they're like escaping, and Anonov comes out and is like, "Hey, stop!" And then Shallan just like turns around with like her
and
face on.
Anonov, yeah,
stop! That would scare me to death.
Oh, absolutely.
If like someone stole something from me and I was chasing after them, I was like, "Wait, stop!" And they turned around and had my face on
because they not only stole your stuff, they stole
your face.
You.
Yeah, that's scary, man.
Chapter 73.
Okay. Telling witch stories.
Kaladin is in Noro's squad now. They get assaulted at the wall, and Kaladin uses his leadership skills to stave off the attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You looked at me so fast right there.
I'm sorry.
Turned your head very quickly. I was like, oh. Let's see. I actually don't have any notes in that chapter.
I don't either.
I think it's interesting. We see them fighting with what is it? The pikes? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
I don't know that. I feel like that's like not a common weapon you hear about in general, but also like in fantasy novels.
Mm-hmm.
Just something a little different.
Yeah.
And like Kaladin talks about the differences between like holding a pike and holding a spear, and like how he's not used to it. And I mean, obviously he's not used to it, but like just I don't know, a little difference is nice here and there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also just because I think in like a lot of fantasy novels, you don't really see like our main character using a spear. It's kind of like they're always using like a sword or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which Kaladin actively chooses not to do.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. We need the sill pike.
The sill pike. All right.
Okay, so let's move on to chapter 74, Swift Spren.
Swift Spren. Vale, with the help of the others, has enhanced her reputation and gained the name Swift Spren. Joining in a parade, she hears a voice telling her she is not her enemy. She goes back to the tailors, and Vale wants to flirt with Kaladin. Shallan sketches Elhokar, and he is brought to tears. Soon, Ishna comes and gives her a letter of invitation from the cult.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Vale / Shallan is feeling really good about being able to feed some people. She says feeding people is something we can do. And Pattern says, so is jumping from a building. But we do not do this. You lie, Shallan. Vale. Your lies wrap other lies. He sounded drowsy. Could Spren get drowsy? Remember your ideal, the truth you spoke. And I just thought that was like really kind of interesting. And it reminded me and like kind of made me think / assume that was their bond kind of fuzzing up a little with him like getting drowsy, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, we kind of would see with Syl and Kaladin where she would get like less intelligent or would like kind of revert back to being a Windspren. But with Pattern right there, he just like seems to be a little lethargic.
Yeah.
And so I kind of interpreted that as like the bond kind of breaking, because he even says like, remember your ideals and like what you swore. So
Whitney, I think I beat you to the punch this time.
Uh-oh.
So Vale joins a parade. And she takes on the appearance of Spren.
Right.
And starts talking to the crowd and everything. And she does some crazy things. A powerful light flashed from her. Go, she shouted. They fled, some throwing off their costumes as they went. Shallan waited, trembled, until she was alone. She let the glow vanish and shrouded herself in blackness and stepped off the street. When she emerged from the blackness, she looked like Vale again. Storms. She'd become one of them so easily. Was her mind so quickly corrupted?
Yeah.
And we're going to see some more of this and everything, but it's again, Shallan is losing herself.
Yeah.
And it's not just Shallan, because she has created these other personas and they're also losing themselves.
Mm-hmm. Like Vale is starting to lose herself, and like we just see so many times where she's like, oh, but I could become this person in this situation because Vale's not good at that and Radiant's not good at that and Shallan can't do that. And it's like, who are you at this point? What is at your core? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Makes me sad.
It is. It's very sad. Do you have anything else for this chapter?
No. I mean, I did mark where Vale's kind of like, oh, maybe I should go flirt with Kaladin. But, and I have something on the other page too. What did I do here? She's talking to Elhokar, and Pattern is on her skirt. And he goes, what is that design on your skirt? It seems familiar to me. And like, I would like to take this back to Words of Radiance.
Yes.
Where we talked about Elhokar seeing shadows out of the corners of his eyes.
Yes.
And apparently explicitly in the Way of Kings at one point, he refers to them as a symbol head, is what someone said to me. And so him seeing Pattern, who is a cryptic and like presumably a symbol head, on Shallan's skirt and being like, huh, that looks familiar. We know that Elhokar is seeing cryptics.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all I got.
All right.
Hold on. Okay.
Chapter 75.
Only read.
Dalinar finds the caravan but is caught in a trap and is stuck under rocks. When he gets free, he blacks out and when he comes to, he's surrounded by corpses. He returns to the war camp, surprising everyone. He plans to completely destroy the rift, men, women, and children.
Yeah.
I really don't have anything in this. I
marked something here, actually.
Okay.
This is when he's walking back to the war camp, and it says, in the darkness, shadowed figures seem to accompany him. Armies made of red mist at the corners of his vision, charging forces that fell to dust and then sprouted from shadow again, like surging ocean waves in a constant state of disintegration and rebirth. Not just men, but eyeless horses, animals locked in struggle, stifling the life from one another, shadows of death and conflict to propel him through the night.
The thrill.
The thrill.
The thrill.
I just think that interpretation of it, or just like the physicality of it, was really interesting. Sorry. Pause. Okay.
So, chapter 76.
An animal.
Dalinar decimates Rathalas, capturing Tanalon. He informs Dalinar that he has killed his wife in the process. After recovering her body, Dalinar swears his scribes to secrecy. He now begins hearing the screams.
So this is the first time that Dalinar remembers what he went to the Night Watcher to forget.
Yes.
And it was to forget that he had killed a whole city of people, essentially. And his wife.
This is a rough chapter.
Yeah, it's not awesome.
So we now know what happens at the Rift, and it's not great. My first time reading this, I thought, I think I had the idea of Dalinar got his wife killed somehow.
Right.
I did not think that it was, Dalinar
did the killing.
Actively killed his wife.
Yeah.
He did not know that he did it.
Yeah, he didn't do it on purpose.
Yes. And when I first read this, I was just like, wow. Yeah. Dalinar might not be that cool of a guy.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that changed your perspective on him at all.
It did.
Yeah.
And honestly, what how we see him in the rest of this part, and I think the next part also changes your perspective a lot. And it's really hard with Tanelon and all too. Of course, Dalinar, what he says about being an animal is kind of like the toughest thing I've ever heard, though.
Yeah.
So there's also that.
Yeah, it's just like we definitely see like, because you hear like, oh, the Blackthorn, and we've gotten to see that. We've seen him in these battles before, and he is just a killing machine. But this is where it's really like you see that tyrant. You see truly a tyrant.
Yes.
Because I mean, before, you can just argue. Like, I mean, they're tyrants anyways, right? Because they're trying to take over every city and conquer everybody. But like, they never go this far. No. And even Sadia says like to him at one point, either in the previous chapter or in this one, I think it's the previous chapter, where he says, Gavilar will not go as far as it needs to go.
No.
Yeah. So.
It's also. Dalinar tries to stop. Yeah. He tries to stop it in the middle. And then, like, I think it's Sadeas or his men are just like, you told us to shoot down anybody who tried to escape. Yeah. It's too late.
Yeah, like, there's nothing we can do now.
And it's literally like the city is burning at both ends.
I think it's when he realizes that Evie was still there. Or was in like the cave where he originally killed Tanelon's father. Yeah. And so once he realizes that, he like tells people to stop, and he like tries to go in to get her, and they're like, we can't undo what's being done. Right. Yeah, literally burning the city from both ends, like you said.
Yeah, man. This chapter is rough and sad. Anyway.
Yeah, it definitely made me, my first read through, I was like, oh, Dalinar. Like, it made me feel bad about liking him at that point. And it even made me dislike him a little, where I was like, oh my God. So, all right.
It did not make me actively dislike him. It just made me feel very bad. But I still thought, man, this guy's still the GOAT, though, huh? Yeah. This guy's still the GOAT.
He's in his redemption arc, okay? He's actively in his redemption arc. All right, let's do chapter 77, Storm Shelter.
The trio are in a storm shelter and share how things have been progressing. Shallan thinks she knows what two unmade are in the city, and Kaladin notices a strange Kremling. Shallan and Adolin are later walking, and he goes through her sketchbook. He's impressed how she keeps improving. But she takes the book back before he sees Kaladin in it. Shallan leaves and changes into Vale to meet with Vatha, and they realize that Vatha is now a squire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from Kaladin's perspective.
Oh, okay, we're jumping back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is from Kaladin's perspective.
Okay.
He spotted Shallan and Adolin sitting in a booth at the side. She wore her own face, but Adolin looked like Melloran Call, a tall, bald man around Adolin's height. Kaladin lingered, watching Shallan laugh at something Adolin said, then poke him with her safe hand in the shoulder. She seemed completely enthralled by him, and good for her. Everyone deserves something to give them light these days. But what about the glances she shot him on occasion? Times when she didn't quite seem to be the same person. A different smile, an almost wicked look to her eyes. I just thought that was interesting.
It is. It is interesting.
That Vale's giving him the eyes sometimes.
Yeah.
Or even like Shallan when she's maybe in Vale's headspace, but not presenting as her.
Right.
Interesting.
It definitely... at least in my eyes, it does contradict that Shallan is not the one that's interested in Kaladin. It is Vale.
It is Vale. Yes.
Like, yeah. I know people like Shaladin.
Yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced. We just said earlier, it's not, neither of us really are into it.
Well, I I don't know.
Okay, what else do you have for this chapter? I have something kind of at the end.
Nothing. I just marked down where there's that strange Kremling that's like hanging around. Other than that, like nothing much.
Nothing much.
Yeah. Oh.
What?
I had the thing like with Vatha, but you go right ahead.
Oh, okay.
No, you go.
Okay. You know, Adolin's talking about some stuff. He's really excited. And Shallan is thinking, Storms, his enthusiasm could be intoxicating. As they walked towards the tailor's shop, she was loath to part with him, though Vale did need to get on with her day's work. I can be anyone, Shallan thought, noticing a few joy spren blowing past, like a swirl of blue leaves. I can become anything. Adolin deserves someone far better than her. Could she become that someone? Craft for him the perfect bride, a woman that looked and acted as befitted Adolin Kholin? It wouldn't be her. The real her was a bruised and sorry thing, painted up all pretty, but inside a horrid mess. She already put a face over that for him. Why not go a few steps farther? Radiant. Radiant could be his perfect bride, and she did like him. The thought made Shallan cold inside. So, we see her being like, I'm not good enough for Adolin.
Yes. I hate that.
I know. I hate as well because I think she's perfect. But she thinks she's not good enough for Adolin, and she's like, well, Radiant could be a perfect bride, and Radiant likes Adolin, but when she's thinking about Radiant being with Adolin and not really Shallan being with Adolin, it doesn't make her feel good.
No.
Because she loves him.
It's heartbreaking, dude. It sucks. It sucks. But it's also so cool. And there's a lot of good ideas going on with this, like with a person having all these different personalities and personas in them. And we really are just seeing Shallan lose herself.
Yeah. Really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. It's not cool, but it's cool.
Yeah. It's cool in the context of a novel.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just had on here where Vatha changes into that old man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she says exactly what Wit talked about. Where he said, oh, you even got the back of the head. Most people forget about that. And she says, nice, but you forgot to do the back of the head.
Yeah.
The part not in the drawing. And I like later on, he gets emotional. He's like, write this. You think I can really be a lady? Yeah. I love it.
It's like, of course you can be a Radiant Vatha. Because I just feel like with him, and I guess like kind of their little crew of deserters, like they're deserters. Like they don't feel like, they probably don't even feel like they're worthy of what they're doing for Shallan.
Yeah, they were supposed to be executed originally, right? Like if they got caught.
Yeah, I think so. And so, of course, he doesn't feel worthy to be a storming Radiant, you know? Like, oh my God. I think if I started to get Radiant powers, I'd probably feel the same way. I'd be like, I am not worthy for this.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. So, but...
Sort of like Kaladin did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve it, Vatha.
Yeah, you deserve it.
You're in your redemption arc, too.
It's true. He is. They all are.
Exactly. Every character is going through a redemption arc.
It's so true.
All right, let's do chapter 78, The Revel.
The Revel. So Shallan makes it into the Revel, and Kaladin questions Azure. Vale is being guided and soon loses him, quickly taking on the persona of Kishi. Kaladin and Azure talk more of their backgrounds when soon there is an attack. Shallan, feeling herself succumb to the Revel, escapes and also hears the drums announcing the attack.
Yes.
Yeah, this is another back and forth chapter between Shallan and Kaladin and whatnot. The Revel is so scary.
Yeah, I agree. Right at the beginning of this chapter, she says, is thinking, The enemy knew what she looked like.
Mhm.
Should she have created a new persona, a false face to not expose Vale? But Vale is a false face, a part of her said. You could always abandon her. She strangled that part of her, smothered it deep. Vale was too real, too vital to abandon. Shallan would be easier. She literally thinks it would be easier to like rid herself of, in her head, the persona of Shallan than the persona of Vale.
Mm-hmm.
Shallan, that's
Shallan,
you, baby.
dude.
Like, baby, that's you.
Yeah.
You are Shallan.
Yes.
You are not Vale.
No.
Anyways. What do you have, Ryan?
Just kind of the description of like the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
How they're all wandering in this outer circle, and they're all partaking in these like excess.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the revel is. It's everybody indulging
Right.
to an extreme.
Yes.
And Shallan notices that like their clothes are like tattered and like they're almost like spoiled in a way, correct?
Yeah.
Decayed. That's the word that she used. But everybody's still having a good time, and nobody's really noticing just like how kind of gross everything is, because they're too caught up in their own
Sorry.
Hello, Nova. In their own like vices.
Yeah.
And
Gluttony.
I think that's really scary, because losing oneself to, I don't want to call them like addictions or anything, but like vice
To gluttony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so like, there's a part of you that thinks like, well, that would be nice. That would be really tempting, right? But like to this extent, it makes it scary, because it's just like an outside observer would be like, this is just like depravity to the max. And like literally like you're killing yourself because of it, which makes you like, just be like, man, maybe I should go on that diet, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Maybe I should quit doing some of the things that aren't good for me. Maybe I should cut back on drinking and
Yeah, I get it.
But it's a very scary thing. And that's why, to me, I think maybe the Heart of the Revel is the scariest one, because we see it in this, where Shallan, Vale, Kishi, by the way, she literally creates a whole new persona just for this moment. And she starts losing herself, and she feels it. And she's like, it would be so nice to give in, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what's scary, where like you lose your own self.
Yeah.
And like, not just because we're also seeing this through Shallan, who is already dealing with that, but like, I don't know. It's a very scary thought for me.
Yeah, no, just to like lose yourself completely in gluttony and sin and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, super common theme in religion. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Heart of the Revel is the one that is directly like inspired by Lovecraft, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
And also always got to bring it back to Warhammer, baby. Slanesh, the chaos god of excess. That's their whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a cool trope. I really like it because it's scary.
Yeah. No, it is scary for sure. I have something when we get to Azure. If you don't have anything else between.
No, you go right ahead.
Okay, great.
I just talked for a lot.
No, it's all good. I also talk for a lot sometimes.
He's slurping.
Okay.
Okay.
So Azure says, and this is when they're talking in the, I guess what is it called? The barracks. And she says, Kaladin asks her, well, why don't you talk about the fact that why don't you let anyone talk about the fact you're a woman? And Azure says, like I said earlier, they came with the game on their own. They're Alethi, so they need an excuse for why they're listening to a woman giving military orders. Pretending there's some mystery focuses them on that instead of on masculine pride. I find the entire thing silly. She leaned forward. Tell me honestly, did you come here chasing me? Chasing you?
Mm-hmm.
Kaladin cocked his head. And then there's an attack on the wall, so we get nothing else about that.
Nope. Yeah.
So it's like, who is Kaladin chasing? Or not chasing. Who does Azure think that
He's chasing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kaladin, I think it happens in the next chapter where he shows off that he's a Radiant. I'm pretty sure. But why would Azure be being chased as well?
Right.
There's so many questions.
So, chapter 79.
Echoes of Thunder.
Kaladin defends the wall and is able to kill a fused. After the battle, everyone is astounded that he managed to do so, and then reveals to Azure his shard blade and that he's under orders to save the city. First thing I got marked down here, Whitney,
Is the white on black thing?
is the white on black thing. We have heard one other character say, damnation, these creatures, I'm missing something like white on black. One other character, Whitney.
Zahel.
Zahel said that. Zahel said that.
In like Way of Kings, I think.
In Way of Kings, maybe Words of Radiance.
Yeah.
Who knows? It was Words of Radiance, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know. What we know of Zahel says some strange idioms.
Yes. And now Azure is also saying those same strange idioms.
And we're going to hear some more of those strange idioms.
Yes.
Yes.
And we will never get answers. I'm just kidding. The answers are not in this series.
The answers are... You'll get them.
You'll get them eventually.
Yeah, you'll get them eventually. I don't know. Read another book, I guess.
Yeah, that's the whole Cosmere. Oh, you don't get something? How about you read a different book? And then maybe you'll understand.
Or just Google it.
Yeah, also. But it's much more fun if you read it.
Yes.
And then you go, ooh, you understand.
Whoa.
We'll get to that book eventually.
Yeah, we will.
All right.
Should we do that before Mistborn or after? I don't want to.
We'll talk about that later.
Whatever.
All right. Chapter 80, Oblivious.
Vale returns to Grund, giving more food. Noticing his odd behavior, she hides close by and finds men beating Grund. She scares him off, but Grund is mortally wounded. She goes to Muri and finds out that the Grips have been using the people and stealing the food she's been bringing.
This chapter is also a little rough.
This chapter sucks, dude.
Yeah, because like this whole time, we believe, and Vale / Shallan also believes like she's doing the right thing and is like helping people by bringing them food.
Yeah.
Just for her to find out that like this other group has been taking all of it for themselves and then like beating on these homeless children, and like Nuri, who's like just trying to make ends meet with her like 9 kids or whatever. Like it's rough. And for Grund to die and for him to be like, I hate you. Like I literally I hate you.
He like the last words, like one of the last words he says, like, I hate you. We all hate you.
Yeah. That would like do something to me mentally that I don't think I would come back from.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah. No further statement.
No, because she also goes and visits
Mary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's the same chapter.
Yeah.
And then she literally just like collapses.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Chapter 81. Ithie and her sister.
Ithie and her sister. Azure explains to Kaladin how they've been soul casting, revealing two sisters hidden in a room protected by aluminum, given to them by Wit.
Aluminum?
Yeah.
Does it say it's aluminum? Or does it just say sheets of metal?
It just says sheets of metal.
How do you know it's aluminum?
I don't know.
Ryan.
Did I spoil something?
I don't know. I'm just asking how you knew that.
I just assumed it was aluminum.
Okay, that's fine.
It says like it's metal that came down from the sky, right?
I don't know.
Okay. I always assumed it was aluminum.
That's fine. I was just asking
because
for clarification.
Because aluminum in like all the Cosmere is funky. I thought.
I don't know.
I might just be thinking of
Mistborn
though.
I don't know. Maybe that doesn't apply on this planet. I don't know. There are people who are much more educated about the Cosmere than us.
If it's not aluminum, correct me. If it is, pat me on the back.
That's so funny. Yeah, this chapter is like 3 pages.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
Yeah, screw it.
What do you have to say about it?
I don't have anything, but I think it's very interesting that like Azure described Wit and Kaladin was like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
Mm-hmm.
We all know this guy.
This funny little guy.
All right, chapter 82, The Girl Who Stood Up.
Wit finds Shallan still wallowing in her misery. To help her, he tells her a different version of the previous story she told Pattern. Shallan rises and returns to Adolin, where they are surprised by the army that Kaladin has collected.
Yeah. I really like this chapter a lot, because this is where, as we have watched Shallan unravel, Wit puts her back together a little.
Yes.
She sniffled, looking away. I have to become Vale to escape the memories, but I don't have the experience that she pretends to have. I haven't lived her life. No, Wit said softly. You've lived a harsher one, haven't you? Yet still somehow a naive one. She drew in a deep, ragged breath. She had to stop this. She had to get over the tantrum and go back to the tailor's shop. And I just think that statement is really interesting for like in Shallan's head, Vale has lived this life on the streets and has done like espionage and has done all these really hard and crazy things.
Yeah.
But she never actually has done that.
No.
It's genuinely just a persona. And like, I don't know. She has lived a really harsh life. Yeah. She killed her mom and her dad.
Yep.
And has gone through all these other horrendous things, but she she can never have lived Vale's life because it's not her life.
No.
At all.
Not at all.
So
and it's true. She has lived a harder life than Vale because Vale's life never existed.
Vale's life has hardly existed if you want to think of her as like a real person.
Yeah.
So.
Shit.
Wait. I have one more.
Okay, you go right ahead.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if you had something, so I was like,
I don't.
Okay, it's fine. There is a version of Shallan standing still. Your other minds take over because they look so much more appealing. You'll never control them until you're confident in returning to the one who birthed them, until you accept being you. Then I'll never control it. She blinked tears. No, Wit said. He nodded toward the version of her still standing up. You will, Shallan. If you do not trust yourself, can you trust me? For in you, I see a woman more wonderful than any of the lies. I promise you, that woman is worth protecting. You are worth protecting. She nodded toward the illusion of herself still standing. I can't be her. She's just another fabrication. Both illusions vanished. I see only one woman here, Wit said, and it's the one who is standing up, Shallan. The one that has always been you. You just have to admit it. Allow it, he whispered to her. It's all right to hurt. And she says on the next page, Wit, I can't do it. He smiled. There are certain things I know, Shallan. This is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You can. Find the balance, accept the pain, but don't accept that you deserved it.
Yeah.
That's like one of my favorite lines in all the books.
It's a lovely line.
Yeah. Like, accept the pain, but don't accept that you deserved it.
Yeah. I love that.
Oh, it's so good. All right.
Chapter 83.
Crimson to Break.
Let me actually get to my notes.
All good.
Adolin talks to his sword and heads in a battle with the others. They clear a path to the Oath Gate and find the Unmade in the control room. Shallan makes her way forward to fight it.
Yes.
Yes.
Let me see. I do have a note. What does it say? Oh, when they are going to the palace, they hear a strange thumping sound, and Adolin took it as another set of drums until a head crested the top of the wall nearest to them.
Yes.
Storms. It had an enormous stone wedge of a face that reminded him of one of the great shell beasts, though its eyes were just red spots glowing deep from within. The monster pulled itself up by one arm. It didn't seem quite as tall as the city walls, but it was still enormous. This is the first, like, non-humanoid thing we've seen in a battle.
Yeah, this is like our first live Thunderclast.
Whoa!
What?
We don't know what that is yet.
Yeah, we do.
Do we?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we do, but, like, we don't know. Let's move on.
Okay.
I just, it's the first time we're seeing a big old creature.
Yeah. If you want to bleep out what I called it, you can go right ahead.
It's not that serious. It's not that serious. Okay. Do you have any notes?
Well, I was going to let you go. You seem like you want to say something.
Oh, okay. Azure had cut down her door, but her shard blade wasn't as long as the other two. She was leading a more conservative attack, cutting off the ends of spears as they rammed out toward her men. As he watched, she stabbed an enemy soldier who tried to push through. Remarkably, his eyes didn't burn, though his skin did go a strange ashen gray as he died. Do you have any comment on what I just said?
No.
Say
it. Oh.
Just her blade's not...
Oh, yeah, her blade is not acting like a normal shard blade, which is strange.
Just exactly what Adolin says.
Yeah, it's not like... So we definitely know, like, okay, we know she's not a Radiant.
Yeah. We
know there's something strange about her. Her shard blade can't be dismissed either. So I guess it makes sense that it's acting weird and different and altogether like, so there's this other crazy sword hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the crazy sword. What notes do you have, Ryan?
I really don't have any.
Because it is kind of like a battle scene.
It is a battle scene. I don't have a lot to say.
All right.
The heart. The description of the heart, it's pretty cool.
It's gross.
Yeah.
All right. Chapter 84, the one you can save.
The one you can save. All right. This is going to be long, so bear with me.
Okay.
Kaladin and Elhokar find the queen. Shallan realizes her attacks aren't working and touches the heart. Kaladin finds Gav while Elhokar talks to the queen. Kaladin kills some evil Spren, and him and Elhokar realize the queen is lost. They retrieve Gav and prepare to leave when they are soon attacked. Shallan transforms into 100 people and hears Wit tell her that she can beat all of them. The heart sinks away. She soon finds a funny lady in a mirror who says she is Ja-Anat. She tells them that she is not her enemy, and she tries to tell her not to use the Oathgate. Kaladin sees both sides killing each other and screams for them to stop, to no avail. Moash soon shows up and kills Elhokar, and Adolin pulls Kaladin away from the battle.
Whenever I read this part of the book, I am tense because I know what's coming. It's like one of those things where I don't want to keep reading because I know what happens. And in my head, I'm not that attached to Elhokar. But him dying like
the way he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's like about to speak the oaths.
Yeah. Gets to the last line.
Yeah, and then Moash kills him.
Mm-hmm.
Moash.
This is the point in which I think everybody turns on Moash.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely the point where everybody turns on Moash and why everybody hates Moash.
Yeah. Moash Hate Club. I'm there. I go to the meetings.
Yeah. This is probably one of the best chapters in this book by far.
Mm-hmm.
We get so much that happens. We see, I think, probably 3 unmade in this chapter alone.
Yeah.
Thing with Elhokar, it's pretty great, and also really sad. And Kaladin kills a Spren.
Yeah, and Scylla's like, whoa. Like,
we killed a Spren.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot written down because it's just so like everything is described to you so perfectly.
Yeah, like it's interesting, like Aesudan is like, yeah, like the Spren, you can bond with them. Like, haven't you seen my radiance? And she's talking about all the Queen's Guard that are like basically zombies.
Yes.
So it's like she has bonded with an unmade, presumably.
Yes.
Somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens, and then, oh my god, it's really Elhokar's death. Really, it's like I said, like I'm just really like in my heart, I'm not attached to Elhokar that much, but I think it hurts because he was trying to do better.
Yes,
like he so actively was trying to be a better king and become a better person, and like not, you know. He was starting to stand up for himself in situations and things, you know, and so we were like, I was like. It just sucks, man.
It does. And
it
not
makes
only
me feel
like
bad.
To kind of just like add on top of that, he dies with the sketch that Shallan drew for him.
Don't say that. I mean, like, I know it happens, but it just makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know.
It's reminiscent of Bluth.
Yeah.
In the second book.
Yeah, like seeing what he could actually be.
And not being able to achieve it in the... Well, I think they both achieved what they were going to. I think Elhokar, this is like his redeeming moment because he agrees with Kaladin, saves the one you can save. And they do end up saving his son.
Yeah. Still just... That one hurts, man. Like more than I thought it would.
It does.
Yeah.
Probably the... second saddest ending or death in the whole series.
What's the first?
I can't talk about the first.
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet?
Nope.
Okay. I don't remember what it is, thankfully, so I'll get a nice surprise when we read Rhythm of War, I'm assuming. Or the end of this book. It won't
be nice.
Uh-oh.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember. Okay, we're just gonna move on. I don't know. We'll talk about it later. Let's move on. 85. Grieve later.
They make it to the Oathgate, and Shallan tells Adolin the Oathgate is trapped. He says to transfer them anyway. Shallan prepares to activate it, and Ja-Anat promises she will try to not kill them.
Yeah. These last few chapters are like a page and a half apiece. So.
Yeah. So we kind of learned that I think I don't know. Like you're so like kind of in the moment with like Shallan and Ja-Anat because number one, these chapters like are so short and everything, but you finally you find an unmade who is presumably going against Odium.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably. And she's just like, look, I'm going to try not to kill you, but you probably shouldn't do this anyway.
Yeah.
And you're just like, can I trust this thing? I don't know.
Yeah. Because like every other unmade, like, and is Jana, is she unmade? technically?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like all of the other ones have not been awesome so far.
Mhm.
So how can Shallan trust this?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Chapter 86, That Others May Stand.
Dalinar prepares at the Oath Gate, but gets word that the city has fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, like, they have no idea where Elhokar is. They don't know if Elhokar's okay.
Nope.
They don't know if Adolin's okay. Kaladin, Shallan.
Mm-hmm.
All these people that were supposed to be, you know, undefeatable, essentially.
Yep.
Especially like Kaladin and Shallan. Like, they don't know that they're even alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Dalinar completely thinks he just lost his son.
Yep.
All right.
Chapter 87.
This place.
They are all transferred to Shadesmar, and Adolin appropriately freaks out.
Yeah. This is where this book gets wildly different, I think, from previous books.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're in Shadesmar, a world that we have not been in.
Yeah.
And also, the only people that got transferred there were not all the people on the platform. It was just Kaladin,
who was in the control room.
Shallan, Adolin, and Azure.
Yep.
And that's it.
Wildly. I think you're absolutely correct. I think it does get different compared to the rest of the book in part 4.
Yeah.
With their perspective and everything. And I'll talk about my feelings on that later. Yeah.
All right.
So, part 3. I love this part. It's probably up there as like one of my favorite parts in the book. Yes.
Okay.
I think it's because I've talked about this before. I think I just love the new setting. We're finally in Kholinar. We've heard a lot about Kholinar.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting to see it, but we're not getting to see like the normal version of it. We are seeing like this in the middle of being like sieged and like power vacuum struggle. Everybody's fending for themselves and whatnot. And also like you have these eldritch horrors just like wandering around. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant. We finally get to see the rift.
Yeah.
This is a heavy hitting chapter part.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I just like it so much.
There is like a lot of heaviness in this part, I would say, between like the rift, Elhokar dying, kind of all the things with like the street urchins and everything. Like there's a lot of parts in here that just make you feel not awesome.
Yep.
So,
would you like to hear my theory?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you remembered because I did not.
Okay, so I have a theory about the Unmade. So, the Unmade are allegedly just super powerful Spren that have been created by Odium.
Yeah.
And are probably allegedly pieces of Odium. Right?
Yeah, I guess you'd say that.
I don't know when the Unmade were unmade.
Right.
And I could be completely off base with this theory and like timing and everything. But what if the Unmade are pieces of honor?
Of honor?
Of honor.
Why would you think that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because the whole thing of like, oh, they are unmade, and we see that, oh, these are beings that were created by Odium. Well, what if they were instead corrupted by Odium?
And not created by him?
Yeah.
Okay. I can kind of see that.
I don't know. That's just like something. I think it's
a theory.
It's a theory.
A game
theory. I think there's a lot going on with them. we've never seen one be killed either.
Right.
Yeah, just
Run off.
Yeah. That's happened like twice now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also Ja too. And there's
who is like trying to do good.
Or has her own agenda.
Yeah.
At the very least. So I don't know. I think I don't know. That's just kind of like what I was thinking about. And I could be completely wrong. Theory crafting is not my greatest strength, but I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool because like the whole thing, like with Dalinar being told like unite them.
Mm-hmm.
What if all the unmade need to come back together and to create a piece of honor or something for I don't know.
Yeah, I'm also like not really a theory crafter because I'm just like so not that I'm like afraid of being wrong.
Yeah.
But I just like I don't know. People like to argue about theories and that's totally fine, but I am not a person that likes to do that. So like if I have a theory, I'll either like keep it to myself or I'll be like, I have this really tiny thing. But other than that, I just like typically stray away from it because I just don't like to, I know it's not argue, like debate. I don't like to debate like that usually. So yeah.
Who knows? What did you think about this? Did you have any more like closing thoughts about this? What?
Not really. I just kind of feel bad right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just soaked up all the bad feelings with a sponge. Elhokar being dead and all that.
Elhokar do be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
What else have you been up to this week, Whit?
This week?
Oh, I guess we're going to yap.
Oh, yeah. So if this is where you leave us off, thank you for being here once again.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. And, give us a like, a rating, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Okay, now we'll yap. This week, I got sick.
Okay.
Promptly I assumed it was like a 24-hour bug because I didn't I woke up Wednesday morning and I was like, I have a sore throat, but like I've been crying a lot the days prior, just dealing with some personal stuff. And I was like, it's probably just drainage. That's why my throat is sore. And then I got through the day and I started like, Jack and I had gone out for one of our weekly like coffee and reading dates. And we were at the coffee shop and I was like, I purposely didn't get caffeine because I was like, I don't know, I'm feeling a little weird today. I'm just going to get like a hot chocolate and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting there and I was like, man, I'm just like, I'm feeling off. I'm not feeling right. And so we ended up coming back home a little bit earlier than we intended to. And then, halfway through the day, it was like right as like kind of the storms were starting to roll in for the hurricane. And my aunt called me because I had been plant sitting for them. And she was like, hey, like they were flying back from Alaska that day and they were in Seattle when she called me. And she was like, hey, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it home. And I know these storms are coming. Can you go over to our place? And like, they have like a patio table with like an umbrella and chairs. And she was like, they can get blown away. And they have like a glass door. She was like, I don't want the umbrella to go through the glass door. This is a really long story. Anyways, so we went over there and we were driving back from their place. And I was just like, I feel awful. And then I got home and I think within like probably 10 minutes of us being back, I started to run a fever. And then just that whole night, I was just a mess. Like I felt so bad. My stomach was like messed up and I couldn't eat anything. It was like, I was keeping water down, thankfully, but that's just good. Like I basically slept the whole day and then slept there the whole night.
Oh yeah.
And then like, I knew my fever peaked in the middle of the night because Jack came into my room. And he was like, Whitney, you are screaming in your sleep right now.
Oh.
And I was like, what? I was like, I'm not screaming. And he was like, you are. I can like he was in his room like gaming with like headphones on. He's like, I can hear you in my room.
That's crazy.
But I was in the middle of this like fever dream and I'd fallen asleep.
Literal fever dream.
I always get crazy dreams when I have fevers. Like it's really bad. Like I've been like that since I was a kid. And I'd fallen asleep listening to that podcast, Noble. And which is a true crime podcast, and I'd fallen asleep listening to that. And so I was having this dream that I was in that setting
Yeah.
Like a little backstory for the people listening to the pod. There was a crematorium in Georgia in the early 2000s that basically the guy ended up not cremating a ton of bodies and was just giving people like cement dust and stuff as like their loved ones like cremated. It was really messed up. There's a really good podcast called Noble if you are curious about it, because it was in Noble, Georgia. But anyways, listening to that as I was like in and out of these naps. And so in my dream, I was in that like town, and I was like a person that was in charge of putting all the names of like the bodies that were found into a book. And like was like trying to contact the loved ones about the bodies that were found. And so Jack came in and he was like, what are you screaming about? And I was like, I'm not screaming. And he was like, what? Like, why are you screaming then? And I was like, well, I have to do the book. I have to do the book right. Nobody else is going to do the book. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you asked what I was upset about, like this, because I was like half asleep and I'm in this like fever state. And I was just like, oh my God, she's throwing up. Oh, are you
I think
good?
she's good.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No,
Maybe she had a hairball.
Oh my God. She almost threw up live on pod. No, she just eats too fast sometimes.
Yeah, she's fine.
Oh my God. Okay. Are you okay, girly? That was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay.
So I was having this dream that I was the person doing that. And in my dream, I was just so stressed about doing it right and doing right by the people in the book. Is she looking like she's going to throw up again?
No, she's good.
Okay. And so I was having this fever dream, just like really tormented about it. And then Jack came in my room and asked me, and I was like, it's the book. I have to do the book right. So yeah, I was fine the next day though. Like I woke up and it was like I thought it was a 24-hour bug, because about the time that I started to feel bad the day before, like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon is when I felt better the next day. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, cool, 24-hour bug. I can handle that. And then I felt fine the rest of the day. And then I guess that was the night the hurricane came through. Yes. Because Jack and I slept in his room, because his room is like further back. And like if we needed to make a speedy escape into our bathroom, which is like that was going to be like our shelter in place. Yeah. Where we were going to go. It was right there. And all the trees were by my room. And so I was like, okay, like we'll do that. And so we slept in his room. And then I woke up and I was so stopped up and congested. And I was, I don't know if it was his room, because the fan, it's really cold in there. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't know if I gave myself a cold because my like immune system was already like compromised from this virus that I had or what. But now I just am all yucked up. Gunky. Yeah. But I spent the last couple of days just like resting. Played some Persona 3 Reload. I was telling Ryan... I was telling Ryan earlier when we were taking a break, I was like, it's so hard every time we were talking about Shalot and we say Persona for me to not be like, Persona! Like, and it's so embarrassing.
I don't think it's embarrassing. I think you enjoy things.
I'm cringe and I'm free. Okay. But yeah, I'm playing Persona. I played a ton of Ooblets for a couple days.
I remember you playing Ooblets.
Played a lot of Ooblets. I think I reached a point in that game where I was like, okay, I've like... It's a cozy game, and it was a really nice cozy game. It was doing exactly what I needed it to do. And then it got to a point where the production of things that I needed for tasks was like really slowing down, and I just like didn't have the willpower to keep going through that. And so I was like, I think I've reached my limit with this game. Gotcha. And so then I started playing Persona 3 again.
Right. And how many hours deep are you into Persona 3?
8.5 so far.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so not too far. I told you earlier, there's so many characters that I've seen that I still haven't like seen in like promo stuff or just like memes and stuff that are Persona 3 related, but I still have no idea who they are in the game. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. That 8.5 hours is not over the last 2 days. Yeah. I played like 4 hours when I started the game, like probably a month or two ago, and then realized I wasn't in the mood for an RPG. Right. And so I've just been playing other stuff in the meantime.
Because you had just got done playing like a bunch of RPGs, right?
I've played Persona 5 Royal earlier this year and finished that, and I played Final Fantasy 7 this year. Yeah. So I've played, I wouldn't say like a lot of RPGs, but I mean like Persona 5 took me like 75 hours. Yeah. And then Final Fantasy 7 is about like 35 hours. So that's like over 100 and it's like 110 hours of JRPGs.
Yeah.
So when I went to play Persona 4, I thought I was in the mood for that, and I just wasn't. So I'm visiting it now, and I'm enjoying it much more now. But I still am like at a space where I can't just like sit down and play a game for like 8 hours straight. Like I can only game for like 2 to 3 hours before I'm like, okay, I wish I still had that in me.
Yeah.
But I just don't.
I also don't have that in me anymore. I will play a game for about 2-3 hours, and I say, wow, my eyes hurt.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's like a physical thing or even like a mental thing of like, I have other things I need to do. I just reach a point where I'm like, I'm done with this task or like this game now. I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm like bored of the game, but I just like reach a point where I'm like, okay, that was fun.
Right.
And I can do that like 2 or 3 times in a day, but like, yeah.
Need a break.
Yeah. And then I watched The Martian last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also had been watching this TV show called Unlocked, and it was like a jail experiment thing.
Okay.
Where this jail in Missouri, I believe, the sheriff did an experiment where he basically they were in a 23-1 lockdown, so 23 hours in their cell and 1 hour out.
Oh.
And they did an experiment where they just opened the doors and took the sheriffs out of the pods and just like let them exist to like kind of have them become a community. And like he was like, I'm trusting you guys to be able to like handle things and figure things out on your own, because like this is going to be more realistic to the real world than you being in your cell 23 hours a day and 1 hour out. So he was looking at it from like a more like rehabilitation standpoint, which I think is like really forward thinking, especially in our country with the way that our prison system and jail systems are. And so, yeah, it ended up working out really well. Like there definitely was like things that happened and they had to like remove some people. There was like one fight, but in general, like they were like the inmates were really good about like if something happened, they found a solution. And like a lot of them were talking about how much the program like really helped them because they were able to actually like they learned to like communicate and like talk about their feelings. Because when you're like locked up for 23 hours a day and you sit there and you're frustrated and you're mad at the world and then 1 hour a day you're out, you're just going to express those frustrations. But when you have a little bit more freedom, even though you're still in prison, like it gave them an opportunity to communicate more and be able to get through things a little bit easier. And at one point they give them like free phone calls Monday through Friday, so they can call their people as much as they want to. They don't have to worry about money. They like open up visitation a little bit more and just like treat them better as people.
That's cool.
And it was really interesting. Yeah. So that took place last year. And at the end of it was like a docu-series. And at the end of the series, it said like that they're still doing it and that like the sheriff in that jail is like moving it into other units as well. So
it's called Unlocked?
Unlocked, yeah.
What's it on?
Netflix.
Oh, okay.
It's like 8 episodes. And like there's definitely points where I don't think it needed to be as long as it was.
Yeah.
But it was still interesting. And there's
that sounds cool.
Yeah, some interesting characters. So yeah, I watched the last 2 episodes of that yesterday and then I watched The Martian. Yeah. And I was telling Ryan earlier, I don't think I can watch suspense movies because it just gave me anxiety. I thought The Martian was good. And I've listened to the book. Probably 2 years ago. And I remember liking the book a lot. And I've heard that the other book that Andy Weir wrote, Project Hail Mary, I've heard that book is phenomenal.
I didn't know he wrote another book. I'm going to be honest. Yeah,
the guy that wrote The Martian. Yeah. Project Hail Mary, I think, is his other book. And I've heard people say it's like fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's it about?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's also space.
Oh, also space. Gotcha. Yeah.
But he does space very well. So. Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But yeah. What movie did you see? Because you were like, oh, I'll tell you on the podcast. What did you and Brittany go see?
We didn't go see it.
Oh,
we watched. We rented it for 49 cents.
Oh. That's how you know it's going to be a hit.
Oh yeah. Extended with bonus features.
What was it?
Twilight.
Oh,
I watched Twilight for the first time.
Oh, it's the first time you've seen it?
It's the first time I've seen it. I've seen a lot of clips from Twilight. I know about, I knew about like my monkey man.
Hello, where the hell you been, loco?
Whitney, I've not laughed that hard at a movie because like I knew a lot of memes from it.
Yeah. But not all of them.
But Brittany who was sitting right next to me,
Yeah.
we kept saying lines before they happened. I'd be like, how many times have you seen this? She's like,
I've seen Twilight so many times, Ryan. You have no idea.
dude, I like let her know. I said, I want to watch the rest of them.
Oh, thank God. I tried to get Jack to watch Twilight with me the other day and he wouldn't.
Dude.
He was like, I have no interest in watching Twilight.
That's so whack. You need to let him know. I hope he can hear me.
They're the perfect fall movies.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Dude, my dogs growing up, when we got, I had 2 Boston Terriers growing up. One was my grandmother's dog, and then one was like our family dog. They were brother and sister, which makes it a little weird. But my sister named them, and this is probably, we got them in 2009. So this is like
peak Twilight.
Yeah, our dogs were named Bella and Edward.
That's awesome.
That's like not even a bit.
Look here, listeners, watchers, whatever you want to call. I get it. I was a boy back in the day when these movies were popular. I was like, ooh, Twilight's gross. Twilight's for girls. It's
you
stupid.
had Transformers.
Yeah, that's right. I had Transformers. Really cool. Optimus and Bumblebee.
And Megan Fox.
Look here.
She's stunning.
Twilight, you will have such a good time because they're not... This first movie is not good.
Oh, none of them are good.
Yes. But they're so enjoyable. And I said to Brittany, I said, outside of, laughing at like how cringe some of it is, there's still charm to them.
Yeah.
There's still charm to them. And so like, if you've never watched Twilight, give it a shot. If you have a partner, watch it with your partner. If you have a group of friends, you want a good laugh?
Oh my!
Hang on, Spider Monkey. It's so funny.
I love Twilight.
Dude.
I'm so happy that you said that. I'm so happy you said you watched Twilight just now.
Dude, it's... I can't believe I hadn't watched it before. That's right. I'm Team Charlie, though.
Team Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't like Charlie?
I can respect it.
Dude,
I can respect
Charlie
it.
is literally the biggest chiller ever. He first off, loves his daughter.
Oh, yeah.
They have such a good relationship. Literally, asked his daughter, did you meet anybody? Yeah, I met a few people. And she's like, oh, I met the Cullens. And he's like, oh, yeah? People talking about them again? She's like, yeah, a little. And he's like, you don't need to listen to them. As far as I know, they're good people. They just don't like them because they're like outsiders or whatever. And I was just like, okay, Charlie, let's go. Let's go. Stick it. Yeah, they're good people.
They are good people.
That's right.
And they're all sexy.
Uh-huh. So I that was one thing I looked at.
One of my favorite is the Jasper stare.
Oh my God. I did. That was one thing where I was like, Brittany, when's the hot one going to show up? And she's like, who's the hot one? And I was just like, I don't know. One of the vampires. And then Alice showed up and I said, that's the hot one.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be Alice so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like the baseball scene, I have that choreography
the baseball
memorized.
scene unironically kind of goes hard.
It goes so hard.
It might be the best scene in the whole movie.
We can only play baseball because we are so... Yeah, okay. First of all, you have Supermassive Black Hole by Muse playing in the background. Second of all, we're vampires and we're so sexy and strong that we can only play baseball when it thunders outside because the thunder masks the sound of us hitting the baseball so hard.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And my monkey man. Emmett and his stupid little sideways hat is so funny.
Oh, it's so just 2009.
God, it's awesome. I love it. I cannot wait to watch the others.
I can't wait till you get to the last movie.
Oh, I know about you. You nicknamed my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster? I know about that one.
Oh, but you have to see it.
Oh yeah.
And oh my god, there's so Eclipse. Anyways,
Is that
that's the third one.
Okay. Did they go to Italy in that one?
Yes.
I've seen I've walked. It was when.
Or is that one New Moon? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen them.
No. There's one.
The Volteri or whatever they're called.
Yeah. I know about them and everything just because I mean, obviously, like I grew up during that time. I probably walked into a room and somebody was watching it on TV or something. And I remember watching that because so when Edward walked into the sunlight in this first movie, I was like,
and he's glittery.
I was like, that looks really bad. That does not look good. But I remember it in my head, and maybe it's just because I just remember it in my head. In that movie, I was just like, I remember it looking a lot better.
The special effects probably got better with time. Yeah.
I
want to rewatch these movies now. I literally tried to get Jack to watch Twilight the other day.
Get him. Call him in here.
Jack, your presence is requested.
Jack.
He might have his headphones on playing a game. You gotta text him.
I'm gonna text him.
Check Discord, see if he's playing a game. But yeah, what did we?
I can go grab him.
We did watch the movie 9 the other day.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, because neither of us had seen it, but I remember when that movie came out.
The movie kind of goes.
That movie is really dark.
Oh yeah, it's very dark.
Yeah, but it was good. We enjoyed it. We were just looking for a quick movie watch, and that was like an hour 20 minutes, and we were like, yeah, that sounds good. And it said Elijah Wood, and I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Saw that guy at Dragon Con.
Sure did. Oh, there he is. Perfect timing. Jack, come take a seat. We need to talk to you.
Hearing this?
What?
There's a camera on right now?
Yeah, it's on. Come on. You want to be
We're
seen?
still recording.
Want me to disturb Nova?
Yeah.
You can,
Pick her up.
You can come. Here, you could sit. Oh no! You could just put. No cursing. No cursing.
No cursing. No cursing.
Oh, sorry. Gotta bleep that. Relax. They have like one of those pianos in the room under mine that has the drum machine built in. They can hear me vaguely. I'm right in between both of y'all.
Okay.
But
right.
They have one I've been listening to it. I'm surprised you guys haven't heard it. But I think there's a kid down there just going like bling 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 bling. I'm surprised it's not picked up.
Okay.
But anyway,
this is an intervention.
Okay.
I watched the movie yesterday.
Okay. What's the movie?
I watched Twilight.
Twilight?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I think you should watch Twilight.
Oh, not this.
Jack.
Like the whole series or just the first one?
I am going to watch the whole series now.
Did you watch it by yourself?
I watched it with Brittany.
Brittany.
Now, however, your super smart, awesome girlfriend has informed me that she has asked you to watch Twilight, and you said you had no interest.
Yeah.
I think you have more interest in you.
Yeah.
Because
I think I owe it to myself.
I think you owe it to yourself because you will have the best time ever.
I'm sure I will. I remember when I was living with Ben, Ben and Katie had like a Twilight movie marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Katie is Ben's partner, and he had never seen them either, and he was like, "It's kind of crazy."
It is.
I don't know if I believe him though. We'll see.
I think you'll really like it. I think you'll really like it.
Okay, I'll give it a go. Is that what this is about?
Yes.
Yeah.
We got him.
We got him.
I watched Twilight. If it takes you bringing me on a podcast.
Uh-huh.
Ryan was like, "Get him in here right now."
He said, "Come here."
Yeah.
Here I am. Is that all? Do you want me to butt out now, or
You don't have to. You can hang out.
You can sit here if you want.
In the yapping segment?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've been watching some more Pretty Little Liars too. I'm in my early 2010 girl era.
Yeah.
If you can tell.
Sex in the City.
No. I've been done with Sex in the City.
Oh, that's right. You had a phase with that. I remember.
Oh, I watched all of it. Sex in the City is phenomenal.
Yeah. I've heard good things.
I should have asked you. I went to a Sex in the City themed party. I didn't know what to wear. I could have asked Ryan.
Ryan probably knew.
Yeah, Ryan would have known. Ryan could have put me together a fit.
Yeah, I could have.
Yeah. Dang.
What's a Sex in the City type outfit?
It was all like it's very like Y2K style stuff.
Yeah.
Like I bought kitten heels to wear.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like low rise jeans.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but like Y2K, but like for women in their 30s.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I ended up just wearing a little black dress because in the promo photos they have like a little black dress on and kitten heels, and I said I can do that.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
True.
So.
I've been watching that, and then I stopped, and then I made myself cry last night after finishing Twilight.
Twilight made you cry?
No.
Okay,
no.
I was like,
cry.
whoa.
I made myself cry
Why?
because it was about 11:30, and I said, I have the rest of that curry that I had for dinner. I want to eat the rest of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I heated it up, and it was good.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the shows that I put on in the background is Futurama.
Did you finish Futurama last night accidentally?
No.
Oh. What happened?
I was in season 4 of Futurama.
Uh-huh.
And the saddest episode of Futurama came on, and I literally was like, pause it. And I said, do I want to watch this episode right now? I haven't watched it in years.
Which episode?
Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah. That is the saddest Futurama episode.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Do you know the Hachi story? Okay, so Hachi is a dog from Japan, and he used to...
he waited for his owner at the bus stop.
Yep.
I know that one.
Yeah. Imagine that, but in Futurama.
Yeah, because Fry just like goes into a cryo chamber one day and never comes home.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad.
So I said, do you know what? It's been years. I haven't seen this episode. A lot of still good jokes in that episode.
Yeah.
I cried like a baby.
Really?
Dude. And I'm dog sitting right now. And
yeah.
so I literally like, Midas, come here.
No, the other day, like I do this frequently. Like on my TikTok For You page, I get like videos of people that like rescue dogs or like they bring a dog home from a shelter for the first time. And every time I see something like that, I'm always like, Zeus, come here. And I like hug him because I just think about like all these dogs that have had like horrible lives and end up in shelters. And like that's like what happened to Zeus. And so every time I see like a shelter dog video, I literally like cry and I'm like, Zeus, come here. And I hug him and I'm like, you live a better life now. And I just get really emotional.
Oh, Zeus man.
He's the best.
Jack, what you been up to?
Oh, nothing. I mean, let's see. What have I been up to? Like, I'm at like almost page 600 in Well of Ascension.
Yeah.
So I'm getting to the end of that. It's been my grind right now, just trying to get through the end of that book. And then I don't know, I haven't really been watching any shows right now, I don't think.
Yeah. What have you been gaming?
Been gaming.
You're playing a new game.
Yeah, I refunded that one, the one that I showed you.
Which one?
The one where I was getting chased through the desert.
Oh.
That one wasn't for me. But I've just been playing. I mean, the Minecraft server is popping right now. That's been pretty dope.
Yeah.
The 2-week Minecraft phase is in full swing. I'm playing RoboQuest. It's like you would like that game. I think I've showed it to you.
Yeah.
It's like a Borderlands-y kind of style FPS, but it's a roguelike.
Yeah.
And it's got like gun affixes and stuff. So it's fun. Been doing that. Just writing a little bit. I've been laying low, honestly.
Yeah.
I've been doing much.
Stream Bummer Hill.
Stream Bummer Hill.
It's not what we're here to do. Oh, yeah. No, Bummer Hill's on like a little bit of a not hiatus because we have 2 more shows this year, but it's just like we're in a downswing right now.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but everybody's busy and whatnot. So I'm vibing out.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I just remembered something.
Yes, Ryan.
Hello, Australians.
Shout out Pokemon Lover. I can't remember the numbers.
Pokemon Freak.
Pokemon Freak.
Mhm.
Even better. I'm so sorry.
Australia, you make the best music.
Oh yeah, what band did you see?
I went
Or
and
artist.
saw Tropical
Tropical
Fudge Storm.
Oh, I gotta be bleeped like 3 times.
It's okay.
I did it again.
They do not say fudge.
Tropical Fudge Storm.
Mm-hmm.
They say
Yes. I saw them Friday. That's probably like a top 3 concert for me.
Really? Where'd they play at?
Terminal West.
Oh, okay. I like that venue.
Yeah.
I've only ever been to like 2 shows there.
My first time there. Cool little venue.
Mm-hmm.
Was very intimate and everything.
Yeah.
One of the openers could not be there because of the weather, because of flooding and all.
Oh yeah.
Which honestly kind of worked out for me.
Because I get to go home sooner.
Yep. I don't think I've heard people play guitars live like that in my entire life. They make the coolest noises. And I was transfixed the whole time because this is one of my favorite bands.
I don't
like
know what
of
that
all
band
time.
sounds like.
I can show you some good stuff. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. They're from Melbourne.
Is that how they pronounce it?
Yeah, I think it's
Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Melbourne. And they're just so cool. They've collaborated with Gizzard
Okay.
before. They have like a little EP, Satanic Slumber Party or whatever.
King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard.
Lizard Wizard.
Wizard Lizard.
The Wizard.
King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Wizard Lizard.
Mhm.
Yep.
All right. But yeah, very, very, very cool band. Cannot wait to see them again. I bought their new live album.
Cool.
They're kind of similar to Giz, and like they're like real like jammy, like extended, like long format songs and stuff. Yeah.
And they get weird with it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm about it.
Mm-hmm.
You said weird guitar sounds, and the first thing I thought, have you ever heard of a band called Car Bomb?
Yes.
Have you ever listened to them?
No.
They make weird guitar sounds.
Yeah.
Like they make a lot of sounds that like it sounds like a synthesizer half the time, or like you would think like it's electronic, but it's just like effects pedals on their guitars.
Yeah.
It's insane. They have this one song called Anti Patterns, and literally not a single what is it called? Like a phrase in a song, but like there's a word for it. A measure?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
Like,
I think that's the right word I'm thinking of. Like not
the same time. Oh, it's not one measure is the same time signature as the one before it.
Yeah, like every measure is different, and the song's like 5 minutes long, and it's insane. It's bonkers nuts.
I'll check.
It's
I'll
like
check out
it's
Car Bomb.
metal. It is metal.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But like it's some of the craziest things you'll ever listen to.
Mm-hmm.
They had a really good album come out in 2019 or 2018, I think.
Yeah.
I remember I used to listen to it when I was on MARTA going to Georgia State, so it was about that time period.
Yeah. Wrote a paper on a TFS song.
Really?
Got an A on it too. It was Ashley.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I wrote a paper on a canceled band song.
Whoa. Who? What band?
Brand new.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Still one of my favorite bands, and I will unfortunately take that to my grave.
It's the one band I know that does that like crazy like time signature thing. You know, Clout Chaser.
Yeah, I know those guys personally. Yeah, because one of them used to be in a band that I've played with several times.
They opened for MS Paint that one time.
Yeah.
Like,
I missed that show, but yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they do like they have a song that's called like
Enter Sandman.
Yeah, it's called.
And they have an album called like Metallica or something.
Yeah, the album is called Metallica, and the first song
is
called Enter Sandman, and it's just like. It's like
That's awesome.
That's what it sounds like.
That's so dope.
It's like right when you think they're about to settle into something, they're like, no.
Psych.
Next thing.
Yeah, that's oomfies. Those are my oomfies.
Crazy.
That's like, it's so funny, like having been in the music industry at some points, because sometimes like you go see a huge band and you're like,
I don't know.
That's
I know that guy.
Yeah.
That's Oomphy.
Yeah.
That's like when we saw Knocked Loose of the Eastern, I was like, that's Oomphy.
No.
Their guitarist follows me on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
We like DM'd like one time. That's oomphy.
I
Nice.
deleted Twitter today.
So did
I
Ryan.
deleted Twitter last night. You feel better about it too.
I do because it's just one of those like I don't feel as married to Twitter as I do to Instagram because
Yeah.
I have to run my band's Instagram account and I have to do booking stuff
Yeah.
on our Instagram account and like communicate with like a lot of people just like don't want to send an email, they just
Want to do
One
Instagram
of
DMs.
DMs.
Instagram DMs.
Yeah.
That's what drove me crazy about like trying to book stuff.
Yeah. So I'm like, I feel like I need to have Instagrams for that, for the
Mhm.
band. But Dawson runs the band Twitter account, and I don't ever do anything
Mhm.
on my own personal Twitter except for like retweet Bummer Hill stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what's even the point? I just go on there and like doom scroll. It's just another.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I was doing. I was telling Whit earlier. It's that's the whole thing. Like Twitter's always been described as like a cesspit.
Yeah.
It's just gotten too much for me. It's everybody's so negative all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody has to say their opinion and like tear people down. And I'm just like, I'm done. Like,
and I'm on like I mean, it's like that a lot, and it's also just like I feel like the Twitter like sphere I'm in for like DIY music is just like a big like circle jerk. It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very positive, but it's just like it's very like mutually exclusive where it's like
when you're passing around like the same $20.
yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So just like, it's like I say like check out this band single and this band and they just like pass it around in a circle, and they only do it with like the same circle of 4 bands.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just don't care anymore.
yeah.
I just don't care. I'm so jaded with Twitter. It's just like it's just like I open Instagram, I scroll on Instagram for a while, and I'm like, okay, next thing. I open Twitter, I scroll on Twitter for a while, I close that out, and I scroll on another thing. So I just needed to take one out of my rotation, so I stop sooner.
Yeah. That's why you started reading, is so you don't doom scroll as much.
Exactly. I'm really just trying to axe doom scrolling from my life.
Yeah.
Just in general, it's because it's the worst thing you could do for your
Mhm.
brain, probably.
When I was sick, I think I probably like my screen time was crazy because like when I have a fever, like I tried to read at one point, and like when I'm sick like that, I just can't do anything but like stare at something.
Yeah.
And so like that's when I was like watching Netflix a bunch, and like literally I think my screen time was up crazy because I was just like I was on TikTok like just scrolling.
Yeah.
And I have to like stop myself with TikTok sometimes because like, especially now that I have like an account that I'm like active on and I'm like trying to actively grow.
Dude.
Yeah, I have to stop myself sometimes. Like I'll be like, okay, let me get on for like 20-30 minutes because I want to interact with my mutuals. I want to talk to people because like doing all that stuff also like helps like boost your account and stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's also like I actually want to interact with people that are interacting with me and like the content and stuff. And so after I do that, and sometimes I'll just sit there and I'll scroll and I'm like, you put the phone down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I deleted TikTok initially. Like, I literally only re-downloaded it, this last week because you started uploading like our clips and everything. So, like, I want to see what you're uploading and everything, but like, and read the comments.
Yeah.
But like, I've been good, and I've caught myself where I'll start scrolling for like a minute, and I have to say, no, don't.
Yeah, we're probably not going to be able to hear Jack anymore now that the AC came on.
Shoot, I'm really bad at that.
Yeah.
We can't have Jack on the podcast. He's going to curse too much.
Well, I jumped into this not knowing that, forgetting that it was a clean podcast. So
You want to scratch his head?
if I'm back, if I come back for like an episode, like actually,
Yeah. You're going to come back for Mistborn.
I will.
Yeah. We should probably...
I will do my homework and be prepared to not say swears.
No swears.
No swears.
We should probably wrap up, though.
Yeah.
We've been yapping for a minute.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody who's new, if you made it this far. Thank you for everybody who's a long-time listener. Thank you for continuing to listen.
Yeah.
Because just by listening, you're a listener on the Listenercast. That's you. Do all the pleasantries, like, comment, subscribe, send us an email. Last time I asked what your favorite, if you could be a bear, what kind of bear would you be? This week, I'm going to ask, what's your favorite mythological creature?
Mermaids.
Mermaids?
Yeah.
Jack, what's yours?
I think griffins are pretty tight.
Griffins?
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with ghosts.
Ghosts?
Okay.
Just like spirits.
I respect that.
A banshee, a poltergeist.
Banshee, yeah, poltergeist. You know what? Keep it on theme. Vampires.
Vampire.
Ooh.
That's
I'll
true.
tell you.
That's true. Vampires pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just really wanted to be a mermaid when I was a kid, so I will stand by that answer
No.
till the day I die.
Mermaids are dope too because they got like the kind of siren thing going. Like the
That's
darker-
different.
I know. I mean, like, but mermaids like have like a.
I just want to be nice and hang out with sea creatures.
Okay,
Mhm.
You want to be.
Like in an
Little
alternate,
mermaid pilled.
yeah, in an alternate universe, like all are men to their deaths. But in this universe, if I got to be a mythological creature, I'd want to just hang out in the ocean and play with starfish or something. I don't know.
Play with starfish or something.
That was the first thing that came to mind for some reason.
All right, well, everybody, we're going to leave you. We have to go to the public pool and play mermaids. Bye.
Bye.